All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Blue Otter League. I am Sharpie, joined here by Becky Rita Gaming, and we are about to jump here into draft right now for this match between Mint OTS and Conduit Esports GG. I'm excited for this. How are you feeling tonight?
I'm feeling fantastic. I usually don't get to cast pre-made. It's actually been a while since I've casted a pre-made league. I'm usually on the draft team, so getting the opportunity to see some coordinated League of Legends for once is going to be very exciting. So I'm interested to see what these two teams deliver. Both orgs that are across a lot of different amateur leagues. Mint in particular is one that has a lot of people involved in the draft scene. So, I'm interested to see what these players do. And we have a B1 Kayn. I can't say I expected the blue 1 Kayn of all champions in the video game still available. It's a very interesting choice.
I've watched a lot of leagues all across, competitive and amateurs, and this is probably the first time I've ever seen a B1 Kayn ever get picked, which is pretty cool. And then immediately followed up with the Kog'Maw Braum lane, another very exciting lane to watch. Is going to be scaling into the late game. We'll have to see how they can play against each other. Is it going to be a red Kayn? Is it going to be the blue Kayn tank build, a assassin build, bruiser build? You can go anything with this champion. You never really know what you're going to get. And they're going to be hovering the Senna. Would not be surprised to see that go along with maybe something like a Cho'Gath or the Tahm Kench, or maybe the Ornn. There's the Senna locked in. The Dr. Mundo is another one that we've seen have some popularity in the bot lane to pair along with the Senna. We'll have to see what they're cooking up down there. But Senna is another premier pick. Of all the champions that have been picked so far, Senna is the only actual S tier pick or commonly picked champion that we've seen in the draft so far.
And we are going right out of the S tier to the Sona tier with this next pick. Personally, I am a Sona enjoyer. I have always been on the Sona defense squad. She's not just worse Seraphine. I swear, please pick this champion. It's weird to see her. You don't typically... the double enchanter idea of like Senna Seraphine is something that I've seen here and there, but I've honestly not really seen Senna Sona. I imagine it functionally is similar, where you just are unkillable unless they get a really good engage, and especially into Braum Kog'Maw, where as long as you don't get hit by a Winter's Bite, you're probably fine. But Jarvan's going to have a field day jumping onto these two immobile characters in the bot lane. So, good response there from Mint. As we go into round 2 of bans here, interested in seeing what they will do to adapt. Solo lanes both available for Jiji, while Mint has... also, there's solo lanes, it looks like. Unless this is a top lane J4, and we're going back to Season 3.
It could be Caps and playing the mid lane Kayn. We saw that quite a few years ago when Mr. Kayn was dropped into the mid lane over there when it was the EU LCS.
Yep.
And that's when it was Dylan Falco. I promise you, Kayn is good here. So good times. But yeah, we'll have to see what they want to pick. There's going to be a blind pick and a counter pick for each team. Each team's going to get to counter pick one lane. So we'll have to see what the hovers are, but it seems like right now they're all banning each other's top lanes out, which means I'm guessing they really want top lane counter pick. They are going to be the final ban away. I'm expecting to see a mid lane blind pick here, considering top lane. Oh no, they might just go for the Volibear. So they want to counter pick mid lane.
Yeah, they're certainly going to see what they can do. There are a lot of mid lane champs. Pretty much everything escaped bans aside from the Ahri. And I guess Vel'Koz, but Vel'Koz is almost certainly just a target ban. So there are so many options left on the table for both teams to pick here. I don't think right now mid lane counter pick is the most vital to get. Obviously it helps, but at least from what I've seen, it's not like the be-all, end-all. But Volibear has done fairly well. It is able to just steamroll you early game by checking you with his big dumb stats. Gwen, kind of an interesting response. I can't say I really expected that one. Maybe it's a Gwen mid. I don't know. That's what Riot wanted. Nope, it's not. It's definitely Gwen top.
Gwen mid is definitely spicy. I had the great misfortune of playing against a Gwen in solo queue last night, also in Emerald, and I played Jace, and I ended the game 14-4, and we lost the game because late game Gwen showed up and ran through and got a quadra kill. So we'll have to see if the Gwen here for Conduit can do Gwen things as they reach late game. Also, you have that great combo between the Kayn Orianna with the shockwave that can be popped right onto Mr. Kanye West there in the jungle, and then the Diana going to be locked in mid lane there to counter the Orianna. It's an immobile mid laner, immobile bot lane. It seems like a pretty solid pick. You got the Jarvan to lock everybody in, the Diana, Volibear going to be jumping over the top, and the Braum keeping the Kog'Maw protected, shredding everybody to pieces from the back line. We'll have to see how they can work because Gwen and Kayn are going to be your dive on to Mint OTS, and then basically the entire top side of your map and mid are going to be diving onto the back line of Conduit. It's really going to see who can outdive who, and I'm pretty excited to see how this is going to pan out.
Yeah, Jiji are absolutely a composition where they're probably going to try and play back as much as possible until they can get a good angle for Kayn to go in. Until then, they have Senna, they have Sona, they even have the Orianna to just apply a lot of CC and just get away from me buttons that they can do to try and stop the onslaught of engage from Jarvan, Volibear, and even Braum if he decides to hop in aggressively for whatever reason. But I will say, personally, I always favor a composition that is able to engage and go in and click all their buttons. And I think that there just isn't really enough tankiness on the side of Jiji to really avoid getting just one-rounded by Diana, J4, Volibear. If they don't get instantly crescendoed, it is going to be tough for them.
Yeah, this game is very much going to play onto your entirety. The entirety of your peel is on that Sona's crescendo, that ult button right there. Or maybe if you get lucky, you can pull off a good shockwave. But you really want to be using that shockwave probably more proactively to catch the Kog'Maw and pull him closer into range of this Senna, of this Gwen, of this Kayn. So shockwave is really going to be your engage tool. Sona is the only peel you have against a triple dive threat. So big pressure going to be on the weight of this this mute bot lane, this mute support's shoulders, which are exposed, so she can put things on her shoulders. She's showing you can see a little bit of collarbone, a little bit of shoulder muscle there.
True.
She can put on a little bit of weight and carry it. So we'll have to see if she can pull it off.
Yeah, and you know, again, I'm a Sona believer. I want to believe in Sona. You know, she can do it, surely.
Yeah, the Senna Sona bot lane has a lot of poke. They're going to be able to significantly outpoke and outrange the Kog'Maw Braum lane because it's a melee and a range versus a double range matchup. Now, the problem is you got a Jarvan over there. Senna Sona are going to be most likely pushing in that lane, so that's going to be good opportunities for Jarvan to look for some gank angles early in mid game. I'd be watching out for the Jarvan Jarvan ganks towards bot side to try to get the Kog'Maw past that early game slump that he has as he's trying to get later and later in towards those items. But for Senna Sona, you can snowball a game off of that. You start stacking up some serious damage numbers and putting the Kog'Maw behind, put a lot of gold onto your Senna, get those Sona support items and that AP rolling early, get those stacks on her passive rolling early, and you can really start to do some damage on these characters and just straight up outrange you from the get-go.
Yeah, so we'll see if they're able to do that. But for the time being, I guess before we go to a break, prediction? Which team do you think is going to take it? Game 1 here.
Ooh, I'd have to say I'm favoring Mint OTS. Now, for Conduit, they have the opportunities to make things happen in the early game, and then I think super late game, the Gwen is just going to be able to outsplit push and put so much pressure on side lanes that Volibear won't be able to react to anymore. As powerful as Volibear is, Gwen just does more. So I think really early game, Conduit has the opportunity to snowball ahead and be far enough ahead that that mid-game powerhouse that Mint OTS has with that pick comp and that 5v5 all-in comp, that they can be so far enough ahead that that engage that they have doesn't matter enough, or they can sit back and allow a couple dragons to go down so that they can just outscale it. But I still think Mint OTS, they just have click the button, go in and win. And I think as long as Conduit doesn't have like a 5,000 gold lead at 15 minutes, they will Mint OTS should win it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I really just, again, like I said, I prefer compositions who are able to be proactive, click all their buttons, go in, and especially against such a squishy composition, it should be pretty easy. And even if they get to late game, Mint OTS has the late game insurance of Kog'Maw. So as long as, you know, early to mid game, they have that huge burst combo from their dive champions, and then once they get later into the game, those champions can sort of transition into a front line for this little void friend to just vomit all over the entirety of Conduit Esports Jiji. So with that said, we're going to be going to a spectator delay, so we'll be back in about 3 minutes or so. Don't go anywhere. We got League of Legends action coming at you for the Emerald division of the Blue Otter League. It'll be great. Stay around.
Stick around. All right, we
Well,
are here. Sorry, yeah, all right, we're getting a little lost on who's going to be doing the intro here. I'm just going to take it off with it though. We're here for game one, and we started off. Had a little bit of an issue there with the spectator, so we had to reset it, and we can't start you right at the beginning of the match. But that means you get to skip that minute and 30 seconds of everybody 5-pointing and doing absolutely nothing but staring at each other in the river. Skip all of that, and we get to jump right into the game. And right from the get-go, they're clearing top side to bottom there in the jungles, peeking at the mini maps, and other than that, just kind of farming and seeing where these junglers are going to make their first move.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing. We had a very, both of these jungles had a very similar start to the game here. Both these teams just going for a 5-point. Obviously, it makes sense that J4 wants to be down in bot lane because he is absolutely going to try and murder Senna Sona as often as possible. The Kayn makes sense that then the Kayn realizing that's the Jarvan's win condition, we just got to stay on the same map as him. And fortunately, Kayn, because he's so fast at clearing, especially compared to Jarvan early on, he's just going to be way ahead of where the Jarvan is at in terms of tempo. He'll be first to everything here, so he'll be able to get down some useful, at least get some useful info on where the Jarvan is and be able to respond very quickly. While we wait for the excitement, I suppose. Anything that stands out to you in terms of the load
Jarvan's
in composition? Ooh, never mind. J4 has decided to skip 2 bot camps.
Kayn's on Krugs.
Yeah, Kayn's on Krugs. Here comes the smoke. He's going to have to try and get away from here. The Winter's Bite's at 3 stacks, but it's just going to be having to get stunned. The knockup comes through. No flash available. No cleanse either. That is just going to be a dead Senna by the book right there from Kabutops. As Chris is now going to try and get something here. Yeah, Chris is going to get a spin down. He's going to get some damage taken down on him, but he's just able to flag and drag away from that. So, first blood successfully secured by the J4 here, skipping those camps, knowing that Kayn's not going to be there, and makes the most of it.
Now, the kill does go over to the Braum, which is a little bit unfortunate, as we see a nice little trade there from CA Collins. CZI trying to trade it back and getting a little bit of damage, but they're both falling pretty low. But just like we expected, the Jarvan comes roaming bot lane early and tries to get a kill on the Senna Sona, who were indeed pushing in that bot lane, and they were caught unawares because Jarvan upped his tempo, skipping his blue buff, says, I've got level 3 and I'm ready to go in right now. And they secure a first blood. That's a big lead, 10 CS advantage over to the Kog'Maw, and that does not bode well for the side of Mint OTS, who have that Kayn, who we were looking at it when we're in the loading screen, has 750,000 points on this jungler. And Brother Otter over there on the Diana has about 350,000 or 375,000 on the Diana. So some pretty high mastery points on some champions here across the board. One for each team here in this match right now, which is pretty exciting to see, to hopefully see some really high skilled Diana engages and some really good rotations and jungle pathing to stack up those passive marks pretty quickly on the Kayn.
Yeah, the Kayn especially, it was the B1, right? So they must have a lot of stock and a lot of faith in Chris here to really make the most of Kayn. And as a jungler, Kayn is one of the most horrifying champions to play against because he is just capable of doing the most filthy things you've ever seen in your entire life, robbing you blind, killing your entire family, and then just getting away and you can't catch up to him. He is just a filthy champion, but we'll see if Chris can make the most of it. For right now, we have the Grubbins getting taken by the red team here as Kabutops secures all 3 of them, so that's a full round of Grubbins for not a whole lot, as Canella is going to be in a little bit of danger here. We have two stacks of the Winter's Bite, but Chris is going to fire back, throw out some spells. Peacemaker walking forward, taking a Winter's Bite. Tucci very low right here. Chris is going to spin in, he's going to flash, but he's not going to have enough damage. Kabutops going to get the slow. Chris is going to go into the wall, get a little bit of HP back. Kabutops going to flash in, waiting for his Q, but he just is going to get exhausted. The Q is not going to come up. He's able to trade one, but Peacemaker is going to not have the peaceful result here and takes that kill, traded it back.
Man, that was on the very edge right there. Kane almost getting 2 kills right there's the shockwave.
Ooh, Peacemaker. Peacemaker's going to be trying to get something done, but Brother Otter is just going to return fire with the crescent moon. The moon falls right there, but it ends up crashing down into Diana as well as she flashes forward into the turret to see if she can't get a little bit more damage, but Flash is not a damaging ability, so unfortunately will get traded there once again. But good presence of mind from the Diana to do that.
Yeah, I mean, you do trade 1 for 1, but that's what you kind of want to do if you're the Diana. You want to get past this early kind of slump that you have in the melee ranged matchup. Yeah, the Orianna gets a kill, but you get one too. And what matters is you get that gold so you can start to actually do damage. You spent all your money on some Merc treads to be able to stay in the lane a little bit longer against this Orianna as she stacks it more and more damage. And with that gold, you'll be able to start getting some damage onto your back as well. So, but what I really like to see here is they're scrapping early. And Kane is getting a lot of stacks there onto that passive. Had that almost kill there on the Braum, and then another almost kill on the Jarvan. I think both of them live with less than 100 health, so just super close margins there. If that had gone a tiny bit different and we have a 2-0 Kane, that bodes very poorly for Conduit because Mint OTS, if you have a snowballed Kane, it can be very difficult to navigate the map because Kane, at that point, Kog'Maw just isn't safe anywhere.
Yeah, no, Kog'Maw is going to have a miserable time if the Kayn is able to get rolling, because Kayn is able to get you from literally any angle. He is a very good champion at doing that. Right now, Kabutops is sitting on the bot side, going to clear out some vision, maybe look to get a steal on this red buff that is ticking back up, although I don't necessarily know. I guess Kabutops was aware of that, is going to get that, steal it away from the Kayn. Always satisfying to steal Kayn's camps as a jungler, personally. You know, my hatred for this champion is immeasurable. But right now, we're just going to slow down a little bit here. The Hextech Drake, our first Drake of the game, is still on the board. Next round of Grubbins is in a minute. So we'll see what these teams decide to do. It looks like Kabutops has decided to go to this Drake with the bot side there. They have plenty of pressure. This is just a freebie here. Not much the side of Conduit can do to trade this back. So yeah, just a free Hextech for the side of Mint.
Yeah, Kabutops has picked up 3 little Void Grublings and has now picked up that Dragon as well. So that's double neutral objectives going over to Conduit Esports GG. And Kane is looking for... No, but Volibear is going to get out of there safely. So Kane is going to settle for some little Krugs there, a little bit of gravel for breakfast. And I guess at this point, maybe it's brunch if we're 9 minutes into the game. But yeah, we're going to call it a little Kruggy brunch. Put it on a, you know,
yeah, Kabutops is now going to try and get a meal of his own right now as Peacemaker's going to get knocked up. No flash on the Sona. Senna's going to flash right there. Will be able to get away, but Peacemaker is just going to fire back as many music notes as possible, but Buttress does not care. Will just pick that one up. Kog'Maw gets the kill. Senna is able to sneak away there, but has to burn both summoners to do so.
Yep, that's another successful gank there for Kabutops. Meanwhile, topside, Kane is going to be taking away those grubs to at least get something in the trade across the map, but big advantages going over bot side. I'm going to take a quick look at the gold here. Kog'Maw is up 400 gold. The Sona and the Braum are about even, but that's not too much of a surprise given how Sona's, I think it's her passive, how that works. But actually, no, it's because Sona has also gotten a kill and an assist. So that's probably why they're pretty even. But
yeah, Sona passive doesn't give gold.
Which support was it that? No, I'm thinking. Who am I thinking of?
I'm trying to. I don't think Bard gives gold. It might have been like an old thing. I guess
it's Pike.
I guess Pike has the ultimate reset. Thank you, Chippy.
Or maybe I'm thinking of how like some of the old support items and like the range supports would always get more gold simply because of how the gold regeneration would work when the support items were different. That's probably what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, that would make the difference. Either way, Sona does still have equal gold right now, and more gold actually compared to the Braum. So, you know, that's not awful.
And Chris is showing up for a little gank. can
Yeah,
kind of see
Chris
him
is
there.
thinking about a lane gank here. Still does not have form yet. Riot, you know, the technology's not there. Yeah, they have no idea. They lack critical information. Buttress is going to be on the backside here, as now Tucci's going to be very low. The Umbral Trespass goes through, cuts down the Braum, but now Kog'Maw is going to try and return fire here as Brother Otter looking to get an angle. Moonfall crashes down into Smokey and Peacemaker, but the exhaust is going to make sure that damage is negligible.
And
now Canella, Canella's going to be looking to get a shockwave. We get the no fiesta right there. It is just a shockwave whiffing air, but on the top side, Colin's going to be looking to try and trade into CZI, dropping the stun, dropping the chomps. But the HP bars are so low on both sides, they don't want to take any risks. And on the bot side, Chris is going to get blown to smithereens by the living artillery. And on top side, Kabutops drops the flag, marks down that he was there, and he takes down CZI, cleaning that up for Colin.
Yeah, it's starting to fall apart, kind of how we predicted. That engaged comp is starting to come online there for the Jarvan, for the Diana, the Volibear being able to jump in as well, and Kog'Maw starting to get a few items, especially having gotten that earlier kind of kill. And so at bot lane, they're just so squishy at this point. And Kayn finally does be able to get the transform, but only has a Black Cleaver in inventory, so only has about 400 health there on top of his base stats and 15 armor from a little piece of cloth he's got draped over his shoulders. So really not a lot of tankiness at all on this team. Now Gwen up there has the Riftmaker now completed, so she's going to have a bunch of extra kind of built-in tankiness from that Omnivamp and that bonus health she gets from the Void passive there on the Riftmaker. But it's going to be really difficult for them to survive the next, I'd say, probably 20 minutes of the game. You really need to rely on Kayn getting some killer flanks to keep your lanes alive, because right now Canella T is in just straight up diveable, and there she goes.
Yeah, the moon's gonna crash down onto Canella T, but we're just gonna see if Brother Otter can slip away from this one. It looks like that's gonna be a no as the Umbral Trespass goes through, cut down by Chris. That's a 1-for-1 in the mid lane there. Brother Otter, they played well around that Moonfall coming back up. So, very smart. Does end up in a 1-for-1, but hey, it could have been worse. Now on the bot side,
gonna be dead.
Yeah, it could be worse. As now here comes the Winter's Bite, stunned up, a freebie for the Kog'Maw here, who is now 3-0 on this Scaling Menace champion.
I don't know.
Not a good look.
Go ahead.
Not very promising if you're against the Kog'Maw. We'll see what can happen though.
Yeah, I don't know what Senna's doing pushing that far forward. Your support has roamed mid lane to help with that counter dive because the Orianna was getting pretty low already, as we see her just starting to really lose out in those trades against the Diana. And for some reason, you know that that dragon's about to be up, so the jungler's going to be roaming down bot there to start setting up for that. They want to be pushing forward to get some vision around that objective, and your support isn't there. So as a Senna, you have no reason to be forward in that lane, especially when you have no vision around that, and you just hand over a free kill simply because you don't quite understand where the lane state should be right there. That gives them the kill, that gives the Kog'Maw to be able to complete that Blade of the Ruined King, and it gives them a second dragon to be stacking up for this team that already outscales.
Yeah, it is going to be very rough for this team to see this Conduit team to get back into the game. They're going to need to somehow slow it down, give Senna and Gwen time to come online. Even Sona as well is a scaling champion. She does need items more so than a lot of other supports and enchanters to be effective. As Colin's going to look for a trade here. He's pretty low, but he is still Volibear. The Ignite's going to go down as the Needlework is going to pierce through the hardened shell of this angry bear, as CZI is just going to walk away here. Turret nearly ramps up to kill the Gwen, but she will just waltz away. A pretty clean pickup there. We'll see what Chris can do on bot side. He's thinking about something. He's got the wall. He's got a wall to walk through. He's gonna be walking through. He's gonna get the knock-up. Trying to look for it on the Buttress, but Buttress is a little too far away. As now Tucci is just gonna be in a little bit of danger here. Umbral Trespass is gonna cut through, as now Buttress is looking to get the next one on to
Watch the Diana.
He's going to return fire here. A ton of damage right now. Here comes the TP from the Volibear. He's going to be able to crash down. TP from CZI is not, that's not CZI, it's Canella. We're going to see the Shockwave come through. We have a little bit of damage right now, but not nearly enough as Brother Otter still reasonably healthy, and they're just going to have to walk away from this one on the side of Conduit here, as now Colin could potentially, doesn't have the ulti, but could still look for something. No, they are going to abandon ship, take the little victory that they got in turning around that potential, what could have been a lot worse, save Kog'Maw's life, and move back out onto the map.
Yeah, but I want to shout out over to Conduit there. I'm sorry for earlier. I had the team swapped on my little notes over here on the side, so I was calling the teams the wrong way. But Conduit over here with this, is that correct? Is it Conduit blue side?
Yeah, Conduit's blue side.
Okay, just triple checking to make sure. Okay, I've got it all right there. Conduit's in a bit of trouble here, but Gwen is gonna get caught.
All right, Knockup's gonna go on to CZI. No flash on the Gwen right here. Needle's gonna be starting to get through, and she does have a lot of damage. Chris is very tanky as well. He's gonna try and cut into Tucci. He does have the shield up. The side of Mint are just going to be forced back here. This Jarvan, because he's going the more lethality damage-oriented build, at least right now, he's pretty squishy, and he's actually able to get cut down pretty easily by the sustained damage from the Gwen. So yeah, that potential kill gets dissuaded there as Conduit avoid a dangerous scenario. Chris looking to get something in the mid lane right now. Brother Otter is going to get pulled back in by the Shockwave. Spin's going to go through the Humble Trespass. It's going to go down, going to cut down into the Diana as the Kane's able to hop away there. So yeah, easy pickup. Good moves by Chris.
Yeah, Chris is actually navigating the map very well. They were down a few thousand gold, but he has pulled them right back into the map. And on top of that, they're going to be taking this first tower here, it looks like, most likely, unless they can clear it out. No, they're going to step back, which is a little bit odd. I think they could have just taken it. There is not too much pressure. Diana's down. But top lane, the Gwen up there, she got that solo kill onto this Volibear that has no idea how items work, because in a Gwen matchup, he took Unending Despair, which is an armor item. I have no idea what you're cooking with that into a Gwen Orianna.
Wait, why does he have Unending Despair?
Yeah, I don't know. I really am confused about that.
Wait, is this like a tooltip bug? I thought this item was MR. Wait.
No, Unending Despair is an armor item.
Then what is Sunfire? Is Sunfire not real? Am I living a lie?
So, Unending Despair, it has a thing. I'll read the passive here. The passive says every 7 seconds you're in combat, you deal 70 magic damage and heal for 250% of the damage dealt. Now, spoiler alert, he has had this item for a few minutes already, and he has healed for a total of 0 damage and dealt a total of 0 damage from that passive.
Incredible
so he basically has 400 health and 55 armor and 10 ability haste into a Gwen matchup.
Very interesting. And Peacemaker's going to be in a little bit of danger here. It's just going to get killed right now as Smokey going to be next on the list as the Kog'Maw is continuing to devour the side of Conduit Esports here. The Kane may be strong, but this Koggers is so powerful.
The Koggers is pretty poggers, as one could say. But you see it there again. The dragon's about to spawn, and Senna, Sona push way too far forward without having your team around you, and they get caught again, and they give over another dragon. That's a quadruple soul point now in favor of Mint OTS, and it's going to be very difficult for them to come past this, despite the fact that the Gwen is actually building correctly, and CA Colin needs to go back to build school and figure out what an MR item is and learn how to buy one against a Gwen. But that's okay. Maybe he's cooking something and we just don't understand what it is. Maybe it's a disrespect thing. As I check, he's actually done 100 healing now. So he's done a little bit of something with it. There we go.
If this is the scaling we've actually been talking about, it's not the Kog'Maw, it's the Unending Despair damage number. You know, it
doesn't stack. It just heals you into fight.
Yes, but the number goes up.
There we go.
Right here, Shockwave's going to go down onto Brother Otter. Brother Otter is very much going to die here. Tucci tries to go in, get the Locket Shield down, but it's just not enough. There's so much damage coming in from Peacemaker, Chris, and Canella. But Kabutops is going to be looking to get something right here, but just not going to be able to get close enough. Doesn't have the team backup to make anything happen as the Winter's Bite is a little wide, not able to crash into Chris there. as the side of Conduit pick up their prize in the mid lane and walk away scot-free.
Yeah, Senna needs to be more careful in this match.
Yeah,
She's been
Senna,
caught out a couple times.
Peacemaker
Ooh.
is both of these bot laners, as you said earlier, they've been playing up really far, kind of for no good reason. Like they push in very easily, and obviously the Senna does want to be up to try and apply pressure to get those stacks. She's at 51 right now. For those of you who are curious, the Senna is at 51. It's been a while since I've played lane carry Senna, so I don't know if that's like a good number to be at. I usually play support Senna.
Pretty good.
And on support Senna, that number feels like pretty bad. So I guess if it's good for carry, then that's a good place to be for the team. Is now the dive squad has realized that there are two immobile players who are in the bot lane, as Senna and Sona just skedaddle out of there. Not even gonna risk it. They're so terrified they ran back to the inner turret. They were so afraid.
Yeah, they're finally starting to learn the lesson that they can't be pushing forward when they don't have vision down there, but Senna's doing it again.
Never mind. We've learned no lessons. All right.
I think Kabutop's got spotted, so Chris is going to be kind of hovering down to protect that, so that's going to make that play go null and void. But yeah, they need to be a lot more careful. You do have your flashes up, so you can play a little bit more aggressively in the bot side, but like to what end? If you ever push past like the middle of the lane right there, Jarvan's just going to come down there and blow your flashes. Then what are you going to do? So I think what Smokia and Peacemaker should be doing here is just looking to kind of freeze the lane, or even better, rotate mid lane and send the Orianna down here.
That would be a good idea, but then that's less targets for the Senna to auto attack and get stacks off. All right.
Fair enough.
You see, that's the theory. No, I absolutely agree with you. I'm trying to think of a reason why we are still sitting down here in bot lane as if this is not 23 minutes into the game.
Jarvan's here again. They're looking for a tower dive.
Yeah, and there's nobody
here
gonna be here. We have the TPs are up from CZI and Chris. If they want to try and stop this, they got a TP right now, but it's just not going to come through. The TPs are going to be late here as Buttress is just going to cut into Peacemaker as the Crescendo is going to go down. The Exhaust is going to go into Peacemaker. Brother Otter's going to pick up the first shockwave. You have 3v4 right now, but the Shockwave is huge. The needlework is even better as Colin is going to arrive, going to crash in, pick up a kill, as Buttress is going to be down. Brother Otter is going to try and walk away here, but Chris will almost certainly cut through the Diana, as now back in the fight, Canella is going to try and pick up the Braum. He's able to walk away with the shield, but now Colin is going to be in danger here. There's so many slows, so many just big auto attacks. The armor is not able to stop the power of these two magic damage dealing champions, it seems, as the Volibear will go down, and now the game is tied up.
Yeah, it's actually about a 2,000 gold lead, or 2,500 gold lead in favor of Conduit. They've got a big lead. They're going to pick up a dragon, a bot lane tower here, and get even more. There's been a lot of dives here over from that comp of Mint OTS, but it's starting to slowly unravel because they haven't been playing around the Kog'Maw correctly. They've been diving a little bit too aggressively, and the Orianna, the Gwen show up perfectly with that teleport, come flying in and turn that fight around. They have a 3,000 gold lead for themselves, and boy, this is not turning out how we expected. The Kayn has been putting up some solid numbers as well, and Senna using that ultimate to get just long enough of a shield and a heal for the rest of the team to come flying in. But now here comes the tricky part. You need to secure these dragons. And Kabutops has ultimate and could just come flying in to get that soul point, but they will not.
That is fantastic zone control from Conduit there. You know, not even giving Kabutops a chance. He's going to go for the knockup with the Canella. A lot of damage right here. This J4 does have a lot of damage, but he is still a J4, and he will still be dead.
That's Baron. They're going to ping Baron
again. And now, yeah, that's just going to be a Baron attempt going to be started here. 4v5. Jungler is down for another 34 seconds. They don't necessarily have
no TP.
Yeah, oh wow, yeah, it's gonna be 3v5. There's no way to steal this. It's gonna come down to whether Brother Otter can get a Moonfall here. He's standing in the wings, waiting to see if he can do something here. Tucci is thinking about it as well, does have a Glacial Fissure. We're just gonna try and send it here. Brother Otter's throwing a Q, but he's too afraid. He doesn't want to take the risk, and they're just going to give over the Baron here. as Kog'Maw will trade a turret in the mid lane. A turret will go down in bot as well, but the Baron prize goes to Conduit.
I blame two things for how this game has fallen apart. The first one is CA Colin is just not buying the right items and has completely ceded any sort of priority he could have had in the top side. I think with the Volibear, you really want to be building that Sundered Sky into more tanky items because Sundered Sky is just so good on the Volibear. I don't know why you're ignoring it, but I'm just really head scratching over that Unending Despair purchase into a Gwen Orianna. It makes no sense to me. And then the second thing is that yes, they're using their dives and they're using their tools to dive in onto the backline, but they're using it way too aggressively. You're diving into a bot lane tower, diving under tower when both enemy TPs are up and can come flanking in, and the Kog'Maw isn't positioned correctly. You don't have your whole team there to back up for it. And so it's just you're being a little bit too aggressive with these go buttons and you're throwing your lead away and you fall into a 4,000 gold deficit when you had a decent lead for yourself. So now the game gets very dicey for Mint OTS. Their dragon stacking has stopped for another 5 minutes. Gwen is really trying to come online, has 3 items. The Kayn is 5, 2, and 3 with a 600 gold bounty. 3 items on them as well. And Orianna is starting to get closer and closer to that death cap, where the Orianna Shockwave, that Shockwave and W combo will really start to blow people up.
Ooh, Chris is going to get knocked up. He is still Kayn, though, so he'll just be able to get away from that. You know, we've been talking about the Unending Despair, but what you may not have realized is we have a Cataclysm going in on the Peacemaker right here. Glacier Fisher's going to go down. Peacemaker's going to get knocked up, but there's just not enough damage to follow through as Buttress is going to be able to take that down, but Chris has got plenty of room here. Never mind. Buttress is just going to be able to walk away, pass away. Shockwave's going to go down, but it's just not nearly enough damage to take down Buttress as he was able to just walk away here. They take down 2, have to trade 2 back, but that's 2 Barons off the enemy team. It doesn't quite stop the siege yet. Smokey still able to fire into the turret. CZI still at full HP as Colin's going to get rooted up. Buttress is going to fire what they can, but Gwen is immune, and she is just going to be able to jump through, cut down the Braum, cut down the Volibear, and cut down the Kog'Maw, as that is a full ace going over to the side of Conduit here as they siege 1 more turret.
And you can see the Kog'Maw is starting to really come online, has the Terminus now on an inventory, and is building a Spectre's Cowl to have a little bit more tankiness, because really you have your 3 core items that you need on the Kog'Maw, so you can start getting tanky so that you can really start to shred through and stay alive to use that Terminus, use that Gwynzoo's, use that Blade of the Ruined King, and start shredding through these champions. I would like to see a Runon's Hurricane come out as well for the Kog'Maw, just because of how grouped up these team fights are, so that you can really start to be shredding through the whole team instead of just one target at a time. But Kog'Maw is starting to really come online for that late game assurance, and you saw in that one, if they weren't down as far as they were, Kog'Maw could have been really problematic there.
Oh,
Penelope is gonna drop.
Dropping a huge damage bomb, but will still trade back here. So the Crypt Bloom's going to heal up a little bit there, but now CZI is trapped in a pit with Kabutops, or perhaps it's the other way around, as Kabutops gets taken down, turned back into a fossil, as that is just going to be another kill for the Gwen here. 8-2 right now as Buttress now in a little bit of danger. Gonna have to flash away. Too afraid of the knock-up there. Cannot risk getting taken out here, because that will certainly spell the end of the game, as we're 15 seconds off of the next Drake. The second Infernal, fortunately, because Mint got those 3 Drakes early on, a soul win condition is still a ways away for the side of Conduit. So really, they are able to just give over the subjective, not feel too bad about it. What I wanted to say, talking about Unending Despair before I was interrupted by a team fight, is the Unending Despair is what we feel on the caster desk. Observe Braum's items. Observe Frozen Heart.
Oh no. Who are you slowing down? I guess maybe the Gwen
is being reduced. Let me know. Let me know in the comments. Anyone in chat, can you tell me, other than Kayn,
I think
who
it's
is not auto-attacking
the idea is for the Gwen.
Is Gwen auto attacking you? Kind of, but not really.
Backed up, but
What? Why? The despair is real. This is the unending despair we live in. I guess there's some theory, like maybe it makes sense. Maybe there are numbers.
No, there are no numbers. Oh no, Braum has plated steel caps as well. There's no Merc treads for that Gwen and the Orianna. That's a lot of CC over there as well. There's no Merc treads for the Braum to be able to jump in and survive the CC and get his combos off. Like, I don't, what are we cooking here, guys? At least the Kog'Maw bought Kaena Grookern, so that's a correct build there. That's a correct item.
And I mean, item builds are far from the real sticking point here. The sticking point for the side of Mint is that they are just kind of, they have not been able to really do what their composition needs to do for so long. The Diana started to fall behind, the Volibear started to fall behind, and now these frontliners, they aren't able to properly transition into their final form of being the meatball meat shield for Kog'Maw here.
Dangerously, Orianna has death cap, and Gwen just reset and got her death cap. 4-item Gwen now, with a death cap. Good luck in this team fight around the Baron. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck. We'll see what can happen here. There are still these squishy members that can be taken out by the full engage, but Diana has TP, not really going to be able to respond. TP's going to be going in, but a little bit too far away as Fallen's going to be looking for a dive. Steel's going to go through, but it's not going to actually happen. As now the fight is split in half. Peacemaker's going to get taken down at the start of it, but Braum is going to fall right afterwards. In the Cataclysm, Smokey is stuck, but there's nobody going to be able to follow up as Kabutops is going to go down. But Buttress is free-firing right now, but he's free-firing into no support as he will walk through. He's mad. He's gonna explode, but that will only do so much to delay the explosion of the Nexus from the side of Mint here. As the Baroned up team, 4 members strong, gonna be sieging down here. 12 seconds on the Braum, 19 on the Volibear. They very likely can end the game here, but we'll have to see.
I don't know what Kabutops was doing, trying to sit over there and kill the red buff while the Baron was going down. You had vision on it, and Kabutops decides to just sit around, and then by the time he gets for the flag and drag over the wall, the Baron is already dead. Baron goes over, they lose the team fight because he has no more engage, and with that, you traded an attempt at red buff for the loss. So hopefully that panned out for you, but there's just a lot of head scratchers in that match, and I'm really pretty confused about some of the item builds and some of the plays that we saw there, because there was a lot of head scratchers in that one. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, definitely some head scratchers from the side here, but I think like harping on the builds is just kind of, you know, it's pouring salt in the wound. Like, obviously it's confusing, but at the end of the day, we wanted to see this composition really take over the game using their early to mid game power, and that the combos coming in from the Jarvan and the Diana. We wanted to see that, and we did see a bit of that, but they just weren't able to push it enough. In the end, like, the Kayn player was doing really well on Kayn. Gwen started to tear it up as the game continued. There just really wasn't a whole lot to check these two champions. So it could have been better, but I think that there were, up until like around the 20-minute mark, there were some really promising moments from Mint. So it's not like you can say that the series is totally out of their control and there's nothing they can do about it. I would say that there is plenty to be done. They could have executed the composition better. The game is not over. This is a full series. You've got games to come back and turn it around. And I do believe that this team is capable of doing that. So we just got to see what they can do.
I agree. I thought that the way that they navigated that early game was very well done, taking advantage of Smokey and Peacemaker, who were absolutely selling the early game by giving over those free kills to the Jarvan and the Braum and the Kog'Maw. But despite that, Gwen and Kane had magnificent games, and then as the Orianna scaled quite nicely into the mid game and into the late game, and just really started to come online without dying too many times to the Diana, who probably could have played it a bit more aggressively than she did, but spent a lot of time roaming bot lane and killing people who had already died a bunch of times and had very little gold to give because they died a lot. So you cede a lot of priority mid lane to allow the Orion to scale freely, and you end up losing the game. And there's a lot that we could harp on back and forth, a lot of things that went wrong, but ultimately I think late game, Gwen just played the map very well, and Kane knew when to dive in, knew when to ult, and piloted the champion very well. That 750,000 mastery points definitely showing there for Chris.
Yeah. So we're going to go to a break. We're going to see what Mint can do in the interim to sort of prepare for this next match, and whether or not Conduit can close out the 2-0 here and get themselves 2 wins up on the season. And whether or not maybe Mint will turn it back around, get us to a game 3, and get that start to, evening out their series here in week 2, their record at least in week 2. So stick around. We'll have more of this series in game 2 in the next draft coming at you after a short break. So thanks for watching. See you in a moment.
All right, we are here and we are back for game 2. So let's jump right into it. We see the Kane is banned right away. Probably a smart ban there right off the bat. Smolder taken away, a smart ban there as well. Grag is going to go off the table. Karma going to go off. Karma's a great flex to pick. So is the Gragas, so not surprised to see those go away. We'll have to see though. Do they want to get rid of the Gwen because of just how powerful that was?
It's possible. I think that Gwen is a champion where if it's not a counter pick, there is a lot that plays really well into the Gwen. So, granted, yeah, no, it was picked into the Volibear last draft. So there are a number of champions that play well into Gwen. So I wouldn't say it's a first round priority. Maybe they ban it in the round 2. Otherwise, Conduit Jiji sticking to the game plan is Mint OTS. Realizing that the Kog'Maw was pretty good and looking to pick that up. I know they buffed Kog'Maw on the recent patch. One of the few champions that can actually contest Smolder in terms of raw damage output on the patch. So with Smolder gone, picking up the Kog'Maw, not a bad idea. He will need a lane partner though, so we'll see what Conduit do to try and keep the Kog'Maw in check here. As we have the Varus as the AD carry response.
Yeah, Butters, I think that's his name, or their name, was very good on piloting that Kog'Maw. Just a little bit unfortunate about how the game kind of fell apart in the mid game. But Butters was very solid on the Kog'Maw, so I'm happy to see it go back into their hands. Varus, Jax going to be the picks on the other side. Jax could go top. Jax could also go into that jungle. We've seen Milky Way over in the LPL blind picking Jax for the jungle and be just absolutely carrying games on it. So we'll have to see where this Jax wants to go. Meanwhile, I want to see either a Braum or a Lulu right here to go with the it's going to be the Milio. That's the third good support to go along with the Kog'Maw, extending that range, giving him that cozy campfire to sit around and spit just vomit, but flamed up warm vomit, which is oddly even more disgusting. But that means that's what Kog'Maw wants to
vile.
do.
It's vile.
It is vile.
It's acidic. You know, it's just gonna. It's not a place you want to be in. We'll see what Mint does for their third pick here, if they go for the jungle, or maybe they want to pick something up in top or mid. Likely it's just going to be jungle, and that, will be the Lilia here, responding to the Yakas. Although Jax can go top still, so it's still technically a flex. Although Jax has had a lot more success in jungle this season, so I would imagine it's going to be in the jungle. Right now, the GG has some space to sort of think about if they want to maybe pick up one of those top laners that might get banned away in round 2, or if they want to get a pair for the Varus. Varus works with a lot of different supports. Blitzcrank, I would say, is not one I thought of, but I do like Blitzcrank, so I will not complain.
It's definitely angling towards a pick comp here. You have the Jax to lock people down, that Varus ultimate, and then the Blitzcrank hook to pull these immobile characters like the Milio, immobile. Lilia can move pretty quickly, but at the end of the day, she's immobile. Kog'Maw, immobile. So Blitzcrank, I think, is a very good pick here. And the Ornn going to be banned away as well is so smart, because Ornn could sit in the front and use that Bellows Breath to say, hey, I'm going to be immovable. You can't hook me right now. And you can't hook anyone. But the Ornn being banned away is such a smart ban there. Mordekaiser are going to be taken away. On the flip side, that was also banned away in game 1. Would not be surprised to see a couple more bans go away from both teams on the top lane as well. Probably the Ahri going to be taken out of the picture as well. Is going to be the last ban, I'm guessing, from Mint to prevent the R4 Ahri pick there.
Yeah, Jiji banned Illaoi Ahri in their previous game. They're going to focus on the Tahm Kench now, which is something that top laner of Mint does play. Colin does play that, so definitely gets rid of a potential tank option. The Ornn as well. The two best tanks, I would say, arguably on the patch, have been taken out, unless you're intergalactically brained and you realize that it's actually Zac is the best top laner.
Ooh, the Gwen ban.
Yeah, Gwen will get banned by Mint. They don't even want to risk it.
There's the Ahri.
And yeah, the Ahri, with the Gwen taken out, that is just going to be an Ahri picked up for GG. They must favor that pick. They banned it last game. Now that it's up, they decide to blind. It is a fairly safe blind into a lot of situations. Are not too many champions can really hard counter Ari. She's very safe. She has good wave clear, good range. So it's hard to really mess with that, and because of that, we get the very resident sleeper response of the Corki into the Ari. But now Mint kind of in a precarious situation. They definitely need something in the front line to go with the Lilia. Lilia is not a solo frontliner, so their options are certainly pinched. We'll see what they can think of here.
Yeah, they need a go button as well, because they really don't have one besides maybe the package every 5 minutes.
And that's a go button.
Is such a good go button.
That's a button right there.
Now here's the worry. They could pivot the Jax into the jungle, which is probably what they're going to do, and then send like a hard AP top laner to go into the Malphite. I'm thinking maybe, oh, what could you even run here? You could run...
Ward's taken out Rumble,
yeah, Mordekaiser and Gwen. You could go the Rumble. Rumble would be such a good pick here. Just give you tons of prio and make sure the Malphite can never really step up into the lane. But oddly enough, they're going to go with the Wukong. I guess Wukong did get buffed for top lane, so he has an extended range on that Nimbus strike. So you're going to have a lot. You're going to be able to sit back a little bit further away from the Malphite. But Malphite's going to be able to safely stack up the armor in this matchup. This is a matchup where you want to go on ending.
That's what I was thinking. This is a great game to build armor. So I expect to see an MR item for it. Just all right. We're not going to talk about items. We're not going to talk about builds. Yeah, so this is a great game for armor. They picked another AD champion in an Malphite. Absolutely. I'm loving it. If I'm Malphite, I'm fiending right now.
And the only AP you have to worry about is an Ahri, who isn't going to have a lot of kill threat onto a Malphite. So you can really pretty safely stack up MR and health and not worry too much about buying MR, because Ahri's not going to be targeting you anyways. So just ignore the Ahri, ignore that AP damage he does, stack armor, and just jump on the back line every time it's up, and see if you can lock down the carries long enough for Lilia to come flying in and put everybody to sleep, so that resident sleeper Corki champion can follow up with even more poke and the Kog'Maw over the top, and see how it works out for you. And I think this is a game where the Kog'Maw, especially when you have that Malphite, the Kog'Maw Lilia Corki late game scaling champion here is gonna comp is going to do wonders for them if they can get there. So we'll have to see how it works out for them.
Yeah, we'll see how it works out for sure. I guess, looking at these two drafts, which do you personally favor? For me, I will say, I predicted Mint last game and they lost, which is carrying over from my phenomenal sub 30% prediction rate that I have in the draft league right now. So I guess if I am going to be biased towards Mint this game, I have to say that Jiji is going to win. I think, and genuinely, that's what I think. I do like Malphite. I do like the Lilia, the Corki, the synergy there of just good ultimate buttons. But based on what we saw last game from how Jiji played, I just think that it's going to be, they have the ability to find good angles and good fights. And that is what Ahri and Blitzcrank and Wukong want to do. So I think Jiji will be able to execute on their comp. Theoretically, they'll be able to execute it better, but Mint has a very stable win condition. They have to get to late game once again, but they have more than just Kog'Maw once they get there, because they have the Corki, they have the Lilia. Malphite as well is really good in the late game when he has all those tank items. So if Jiji can accelerate the game and roll over Mint, it'll be hard for them to win. But once again, we get it late game and Kog'Maw could go crazy.
And this game, you don't have to worry about a Gwen just running through your backline and a Kayn running onto you if you're the Kog'Maw. You really only have to worry about a Wukong, and you have a Milio who could just cleanse you right out of that ult to get you back where you want to be. Typically, if you're going to be the Kog'Maw, you're going to be playing far enough back behind your front line that Blitzcrank isn't going to be too much of a worry either. So this is a much better game for the Kog'Maw, and I expect a lot of good things out of that bot lane Voidling. So we'll have to see how it works out for them. I'm favoring Mint OTS for this one. I think this is just I'm a Malphite connoisseur. I like playing the big rock in the top lane, although I tend to slam it as full AP in the mid lane and have a good time with that. Hey,
Yes.
it brought me to Emerald,
Yes.
is what it is. But
Yes.
um, but this is not a game you want to go AP Malphite in. Anyways, I do favor the Mint OTS comp quite a bit. I think it's just a lot easier to execute. Malphite hits the R button and goes in. Corki throwing damage. Kog'Maw throwing damage. Lilia gotta go fast and spin your Q around. Whereas for Conduit, you're looking for rotations, clearing vision, looking for picks with the Blitzcrank. It's a lot more of like you need to find the right angles to make it happen. Whereas Mint OTS can just play a more traditional front to back, and I think I kind of favor that for them, considering they played those late game fights around Baron, especially the Kog'Maw, positioned very well. So I think we might have a game 3 on our hands.
Yeah, we could have a game 3 on our hands for sure, or perhaps Jiji will close it out with their pick tools. For the time being, we're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we'll be in the game for game 2 of the series between Conduit Esports Jiji and Mint OTS. So stick around. We will have the action for you after our spectator break.
We are back and we are live for a game 2 between Mint OTS and Conduit Esports GG. Game 1 was pretty back and forth with some leads going this way and then that way and then back in favor of ultimately ended up being in favor of Conduit Esports GG despite our predictions. And so game 1 in the books. We're moving on to game 2. We've got the why can't I think of his name? Kog'Maw. And that's about all that transitioned over from game 1. Everything else is brand new, fresh cookery to come in for this match, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, very exciting stuff.
Minions have spawned.
You gotta appreciate the ability to, after a game 1 loss, kind of adapt and try something new, right? Especially this early in the season. You have plenty of room to try new things, see what works for your team. I love Kog'Maw. I love B Kog'Maw in particular. It's a very adorable skin. And I especially do like that they are running back the Kog'Maw. I think that it showed how good the champion is right now in the previous game. It single-handedly was keeping Mint alive in those later stages. So hopefully this game we can see a better performance from, well, not a better performance, but a more success coming in for Butters, because they played really well in the previous game, and I think that they'll be able to make the most of this champion in this game, even though there are some threats, including Blitzcrank.
That was a nice hook.
Yeah, Blitzcrank's gonna be hooking up somebody. We're gonna get a trade here, but Butters actually does force out of the pot from Smokey, so honestly a pretty even trade, although Peacemaker did get the jump on that one, so not too bad.
Yeah, Butters actually came out in favor on that trade. Forces, like you said, the pot out of Smokey. So now Kog'Maw's going to have that one pot advantage. And that's really big for this early game for the Kog'Maw. Just hit that W key after getting hooked. Doesn't have the knock up there from the Blitzcrank to extend the CC duration. So, yeah, just thumps away on that Varus and just straight up wins the trade. Well played. To not panic when you get hooked like that. That's good stuff.
Yeah. It is very easy to panic when Blitzcrank hooks you, but you have to remember that it really only comes down to whatever damage, whatever follow-up they have, and honestly, there really isn't a whole lot, at least right now for the Varus. At level 1, once he gets his abilities, he can start getting the stacks down, he can blow them up with his Q, and then he has a little bit of burst damage to go with it, but at least early on, he's not the most threatening follow-up to a Blitzcrank hook. So even if you get hooked in, you probably don't have to burn a whole lot. And like we saw in that last exchange, you can even make it favorable. In the top side right here, we're getting a look at this matchup between Malphite and Yakes. I played a lot of Malphite in top lane in the past when I was a top laner. Big fan of Malphite. Jax always felt like a really good matchup for Malphite, despite the fact that you think it really wouldn't be, because you have good range. Your E makes him functionally not a champion. So.
Careful.
Yeah, it could be a little bit of a risky maneuver here as Chris walks up and smacks the scuttle away as the charm's going to go through. That's going to be Canela T getting a ton of damage right now. Kabutops trying to limp away here, but Chris is able to get the crushing blow into the deer and pick up first blood. As in the top side, Flash is going to get blown by Colin as CZI is just doing what Jax does best and auto-attacking you to death. Especially since Malphite, when he runs out of mana, he is a useless rock. So he's literally a paperweight. So
very much so.
Good kill from Chris, though.
Yeah, that's a good set of aggression. Not just getting the kill, but also getting that early scuttle, which does a lot for your early XP on your first clear to get an XP lead. Because those first scuttles, they do a lot of relative XP for you. So that's going to be a pretty big lead for Chris on that Wukong, the Monkey King there in the jungle. And is probably going to try to rotate over to that top scuttle as well. Now that he's just cleared out the Krugs up there. Let's see if he goes for a double scuttle thing. Nope, the Raptors just came up, so he's going to pick up some KFC. Anyways, down here in the bot lane, I think after Kog'Maw catches this, it should be pretty much even on the gold.
Yeah, I would imagine they're going to be even in CS. I don't think either of them have any real gold generation, so it just comes down to, you know, getting these last few minions here. All right, got two more. All right, one more. Actually, it's going to be another 2 more to stay caught up with the Venusaur 2 CS down. But with the slow game state right here, good opportunity by Chris as they just find a good spot to walk up and take the Grubbins. So first round of Grubs going to go over to Jiji this game. No Drake trades right now, although Kabutops is going to start it. Nobody really on bot side to contest right now, but they will be wandering back down there. We'll see if anything happens. The CZI is level 6, going to try and push that lead, at least pound into the Rockman with the big lamppost and empowered autos. As Peacemaker is going to discover the shenanigans, the tomfoolery in the Drake pit, but nothing to really do about it, as this will just be the Cloud
They're on
Drake.
their way.
Maybe they decide to respond to the tomfoolery, as the hook is going to go in right into a charm right there, as that is going to be Butters actually the one who gets hooked up and blown away. Great pick from Peacemaker there to get something back.
Well met, human.
Yeah, it's a great pick. Now the problem is you've got a Kog'Maw, you've got a Kog'Maw with only Berserker's Greaves, a Corki, and a Lilia. Your early damage against those neutral objectives is insanely slow. You can't chunk them down, but it takes so long that Wukong is able to wrap around, pick up his chickens, then loop back down in through the river to allow Blitzcrank to get a hook, RA ult in with the charm, and get an execute onto that Kog'Maw. So it's good looks here as they're about 2,000 gold up in Conduit Esports, but that's kind of what you expect from the way that their early game is going to be going for them. As they scale later and later, it's going to be more and more difficult for them to play out these team fights with the Malphite unstoppably ulting over the top of everybody. But a really solid early game. Last early game for Conduit wasn't nearly as good as this, so it's good to see that they're having a much better early game here for themselves.
Yeah, definitely good for Conduit. This is what their comp really wants to do, is, get this acceleration early on, use their pick tools, get those picks, and really just make the most of it, prevent Mint from getting to those late game power spikes that we expect to see from the Corki, from the Coggers, and from the Lily as well. Hook goes wide. It's not about the hooks you hit, it's about the hooks that you don't. It's about the hook, the theory of the hook, as they say. The threat of the hook is more important than landing it.
It's the what is it? The whiff is mightier than the hook. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes, for sure. That's what I tell my team, at least. They still report me. Either way, on the top side of the map, we have the Scuttle getting picked up by Kabutops, as a lot of members are up here on the top side. The Grubbins are likely going to be coming up sometime soon, a little bit before the next Drake, I would say, maybe in a minute or so.
It's a minute and 10 seconds.
Okay, I'm trying to remember my Grubbins timers. If this is the new camps, they add a new camp and it's all over for me. But yeah, Grubs are going to come up soon, so that is going to be the target of both of these teams here. GG could look to get the 2 rounds of Grubbins, which is very favorable. Chris going to go for an engage right here. Not going to be able to quite get it in there, as the charm's going to land on the Brother Otter, forcing out the flash. But that is a flash from Chris as well, as Chris is limping away here. Took a lot of tower damage there, as Canela T is able to, get the pressure in the lane. Brother Otter does manage to survive, but does have to burn flash. Fortunately, Corki is on the safer side with his Valkyrie, so he's not too concerned about all of that. He's able to still be a little on the safe side. Grubs still a moment away. Both jungle.
Seconds.
Yeah. Wukong on the bot side here. Lilia's actually going to be heading up to the Grubs. I suppose Wukong is not necessarily looking to go for the double round of them. Just going to accept trading those back and maybe look to get a good position on the next Drake, as this is definitely a slower game than the previous one. Without J4 and Diana trying to jump in and get a bunch of kills early, we got a slow one for sure. But hey, that is definitely a state. If you're Mint, you want to be in a slow game, because it gives you the time to actually get items.
And speaking of items, I want to direct your eyes down to the scoreboard there in the bottom. Ari has already picked up that Malignant, so she has the 25 ability haste plus an additional 20 ultimate haste. So she's going to be able to use that Spirit Rush very regularly. I'm going to do a quick check on her. Yeah, that ultimate cooldown is already down to about 75 seconds, so she can use it every minute and change. So that's every 2.5 waves she can ult. That's pretty solid.
Yeah, the ulti CDR items they added this season have just been, they've been a ton of fun to use. They're fun items. I love Malignance. I think it's probably my favorite of the new items. It just has, it has a cool passive. It has, the ulti CDR is always fun. I play Fiddlesticks. So
there you go.
You know, and the more Crow Storms I can get, the better. But yeah, the champions like Ari really make the most of this because she's so good. Oh yeah, as Chris is gonna find it.
But they're here.
In a sticky situation, double knockup's gonna go through. Charm doesn't quite go through as Chris is gonna be drowsy, he's gonna be sleepy, he's gonna be taken down, put to bed by Otter there. Brother Otter picking up the kill there, and Drake's gonna get started. Smokey's on the wings. Charm does land onto Butters as the ulti, yeah, the ulti from the Milios is a little bit slow there. As Tucci now gonna be in a lot of danger right here. Exhaust's gonna go down, but not nearly enough as Smokey just gonna be able to free fire here as this Drake is also free firing and burning down, chipping away at those HP bars on the side of Mint. Is now Brother Otter and Butters having to just walk away here. Brother Otter is able to throw out a few missiles, but that is going to be the Drake picked up by the side of Jiji, as that is, we have a Mountain Drake on the board here, as Mountain Soul is going to be very big for this little bit of a bruisery roster. Any Mountain Drakes are going to be hugely advantageous for them on GG. So we'll see let's see if they can Drake him.
Mountain Drake is going to be really good for Mint OTS as well. The Lilia having that shield on her way in, and then a Malphite being able to have a second shield on top of his passive. Now remember, Malphite's passive, when he has that up, it gives him a big shield, and while he's shielded, I think it's the passive of his W. While he's shielded, his armor is tripled, or his bonus armor he gets from that from 20 to 60% bonus armor while that shield is active. And the Mountain Soul, if they get it, that shield goes in front of his passive. So that shield has to get burned through first, and then his passive before that bonus armor is removed. So he's going to be a very tanky Rockman if they can get that Mountain Soul onto his back.
CZI is going to dash in. Charm gets Flash. But Canella is going to continue the pressure here. No more charges there on the dashes. Now Colin's just going to get knocked away. Going to have to pop the Unstoppable Force to get out of there. But no kills given over to Jiji there. Could have been a lot worse for them. But, you know, they walk away without giving too much away aside from burning a flash off of Kabutops. So now both these teams just going to stay around the top. Wukong's around the top side. Lilia looking for something. As the hook's going to go in on Tucci as he's going to try and make something happen. Ooh, the bowling ball. That is a gutter ball right there into the wall directly, rolling slowly down. Got to wait for it to wind back up and get back into your hands. Still, Kabutops sticking around looking for it. Peacemaker's going to get hit by the bowling ball, but not gonna amount to a whole lot else, as this play has been dissuaded successfully by Smokey and Peacemaker.
I just want to take a quick moment to peek up at the top side. Look at the CS difference, because Jax used that teleport to roam bot side to look for some pressure that ultimately amounted into nothing except for that dragon. It did cede a fair amount of gold advantage over to this Malphite, picked up a couple plates, picked up a pretty decent CS lead as well, and is sitting at about 600 gold above that Jax at this point. So nice leads. Flash. I was peeking at bot lane really quick, and Flash was burned there by the Kog'Maw because of a hook that was going to land on target. But Kabutops is down here for a roam. and has the ultimate available.
Ooh, yeah, the sleep's gonna go down onto Blitzcrank right here. He's gonna just be able to nearly walk away. As Canella's gonna be flashing forward, gonna get the charm down on the Butters, as they're just gonna try and kite back as much as possible.
Damage.
Butters doing as much damage as he can. He's gonna be able to take one down, but there's so much more coming out from the Ahri, coming out from the Varus, and the explosion of the Kog'Maw doesn't land onto anybody, as Varus and Ahri are able to clean that one up. Only trading one back, and now Brother Otter is just going to get chopped down, smacked down to the earth by a crushing blow from Chris, as that's just going to be 4 kills picked up across the board by Jiji, and almost certainly this next turret.
And can we peek bot lane really quick at the Ahri who's recalling? You can see right there, there was a blue ward that was sitting right there. When the Ahri roamed down, Corki and Malphite both had TP and their ults available. That would have been a great opportunity to use the teleport to hop down there and help assist in that play to turn it in your favor. The ults are not used. Yes, Corki gets a lot of pressure there on the mid lane, but you end up giving over 3 kills for it. So, interesting call. They do be able to save those teleports though, which is going to be useful for them because now they have a TP advantage for this upcoming dragon fight.
Yeah, TP advantage is always good to have for sure. Colin is going to be in a little bit of danger here. Peacemaker's going to look up. We have the unstoppable force. It's going to interrupt. The Peacemaker's going to get knocked up. Kabutop's going to be burning them down. And Colin with the incredible unstoppable force to negate all CC, keep himself alive, and Kabutops is able to clean that up. An incredible turnaround on that dive from Colin and Kabutops.
Colin and Kabutops are heroes after that play. Subtly, just want to shout out. Remember last game we were talking about the Frozen Heart and what's it doing? And this game, it's doing an awful lot. It's slowing down the Jax auto attack. It's slowing down when Blitzcrank can use that knockup between the auto attack. It's slowing it down when Varus can use those auto attacks to try to hit people. So that is a huge purchase there for the Malphite. And that's going to amount them that first tower. It's not just 1, but 2 towers and a lot of prio onto this dragon because the Malphite's going to be able to TP in whenever he wants to. And there goes the TP right behind them all.
Yeah, we have a TP coming in. Peacemaker's going to get slowed down a little bit as the sleep's going to come through. Kabutop's on a rampage right now, tearing up the front side of the fight as Canella T is going to be able to take down Brother Otter on the backside. But how's the rest of the team looking? Not great, as CZI is going to be limping away here. Canella T just a couple of auto attacks away from death. All Butters needs to do is get those autos to land true, but Jiji will just disengage there. That is a 2-for-1 in favor of Mint as they pick up their second Drake of the game. And I was talking about how good these Mountain Drakes are for the side of Jiji because their Bruisery members get a little bit of free resistances as, great cleanse from Tucci right there. Nearly a Captain Jack for sure, as Colin's looking for the unstoppable force. Colin's gonna try and make it. Oh, no! Not quite close enough. Just not able to close the gap. And now Tucci is gonna potentially have to throw their life away for the sins of Malphite. Very over-aggressive play from the side of Mint, getting instantly punished.
We've all done that out Malphite once or twice. You look for a funky angle over the wall, but because of how the wall interacts, it pushes you off to the side, and you end up completely whiffing the ability altogether. It's painful when it happens, but that's just some Riot small indie company spaghetti code for you. A little bit unfortunate that it does whiff, and you end up having to push your support Milio there under the bus and give a free kill over. Thankfully for you, Blitzcrank is the one who picks it up. But Brother Otter down here.
Oh man, the Lich Bane Ahri pumping out so much free damage as Brother Otter.
Sidestep.
The sidesteps dodged both of those charms there. Brother Otter stays alive just through good movement. So it's good to be Corky in that case, as you narrowly avoid certain demise twice. So yeah, that's a good survival from Otter there. As not a whole lot coming up soon. We do have the Baron. If any team's going to be able to take that down early, it's going to be a stacked Kog'Maw along with a Lilia. Both of them have a lot of % health burn. So that is a possibility. We could see an early Drake from that team, although I
Oh,
kind of have my
they're
doubts.
camping the red buff. Lily's on her way. Kog'Maw's on the way too.
Who's gonna be there for Lilia? Kabutops lacks critical information. They have no wards.
No,
They're gonna
no,
throw the
no.
bowling ball.
The Otter's coming up too.
El no sabe. Oh no. Kabutops is actually positioning so intelligently, and it doesn't even matter. They pick up the red buff, but will they die for it? They certainly will. Now Tucci's gonna get charmed up, burned down. Brother Otter is gonna try and get into the fight, but he crashes into the wall right there with the Valkyrie, and that is what should have just been a single kill given over turns into a disastrous 3-for-0 other than a red buff.
And they're going to be able to walk their way up to the Baron here as well. Malphite did have to push in, so he's going to have a nice little flank angle. But the problem is Jax can look from behind. What is Malphite doing? He's just jumping right into the pit with everyone.
He's going to have the unstoppable force. He gets knocked up. Flash goes through. He's going to get slowed down. He's taking a lot of damage right here, but he's not able to trade any back. There's nobody nearby. All of his carries died in bot lane. Oh, jeez. Oh, man. I don't know why Malphite was there. But I'm not gonna say anything.
That was the longest reach of a Blitzcrank knockup I have seen in my life. The knockup was already procced as Blitzcrank flashed away. So gets the flash to get the range away from them, but the Blitzcrank knockup has already been channeled. So even though he gets away, the knockup lands, and then that big AoE from the what do you call it? The glacial augment, just really slowing him down, so he can't walk away. Gives up his life by hopping over to the Baron pit. But maybe it's just a big brain play, because they were going over to Baron to take it, and because Malphite is so tanky, he lives for long enough and forces the chase long enough that Lilia and Corki both respawn, and they can't take the Baron any longer. So you keep the Baron alive, but you only trade your life.
That actually is not a bad... Now that you say that, all things considered, like, you give over 300 more gold, but realistically, like, you're the scaling team. You just need to buy yourself time. And if that means throwing your life away to stop a potential Baron siege, that is not a bad idea. I don't know if that was intentional, but we're going to assume it was. So, a great decision there from Colin to sort of stall the Baron out with his own life. But now we do have another Drake coming up soon, as it's 15 seconds on the next mountain. The side of Jiji are very much set up for it. The river and jungles are all fully warded. No vision from the side of Mint. They'll be going in blind if they want to try and contest this one. And Colin's going to be walking in first. Varus reveals himself with the piercing arrow. Drake's not started yet.
Look at the flank angle that the Ahri has. Look at the flank angle there.
Ahri and Wukong both on the flank right here. They're waiting for Butters. Butters in a very precarious situation right here. And Butters is going to get taken down instantly. Going to flash away. Going to stay alive very narrowly on the rest of the fight. Butters is able to trade one back, but how much is it going to work? Brother Otter is going to fire as much as possible as Malphite is tanking up everything. Those missiles are blasting away the HP bars, but the damage just isn't quite enough to finish anyone off. And that's going to be a 4-4-1 in favor of Jiji. Great flank from Chris and Canola there to really set up that fight.
Yeah, Canela T and Chris there found the perfect flank angle. They bait this Kog'Maw into stepping too far forward, and then they come over perfectly in sync, jump over, pull both their ultimates, force the flash, force that Milio ultimate there as well, the Breath of Life. They go over the wall, and Ahri barely able to get the kill there off onto the Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw almost won that trade there, despite all that damage going on. It was a really nice used ultimate. Now, I think if Milio had used the exhaust onto the Ahri, they could have actually... Butters could have actually survived that fight and turned it back around, potentially. But... despite that, the dragon goes down, so we're even on dragons 2 apiece, and this game we're reaching 25 minutes, and it's only about a 4,000 gold difference between the two teams, so this game is still very much in the hands of both teams. Malphite is getting really strong and has the double armor items and those Merc treads on his feet there to stay, just to kind of prevent some of that CC that can come out from the Wukong and the Ahri charm and the Blitzcrank things and some Varus shenanigans. So Merc Treads are actually a pretty good buy here because the team, even though they have a lot of AD champions, they aren't really doing a lot of auto attacking outside of the Varus, who has gone the lethality build, so even less autoing there. And the Jax might be doing a little bit of autoing, but he wants to be diving the bots, the backline, and not trying to sit there fronting to back the Malphite. So, Merc Tread's pretty good here. Plus, you have the passive from the Frozen Heart, so he can just kind of jump into your backline and see what he can do, and it's he's starting to get pretty strong there for himself, and we'll have to see if he can find those good Malphite angles for the Lilia to follow up on, and if Butters can finally get, once he gets that Terminus, he's going to be really fully online. We just need Mint OTS to hold on long enough for that Terminus to show up, and probably about 8 minutes.
Yeah, they're holding their hands up into the air. They're trying to funnel all of their energy into surviving just a little bit longer, but like you said, it's gonna be a while away. Kog'Maw only really has the 2 items here, does have the dagger, but that's the only piece of the Terminus currently online, so it will certainly still be a long ways away. A lot of waves, a lot of jungle camps would need to be fed into this Kog'Maw, and it looks like nobody's interested in giving Kog'Maw the gold. Okay, never mind. We are giving Kog'Maw this wave. Thank you. Very good. So we'll see if Kog'Maw can get to this next item breakpoint. That is absolutely what they want. Or if Jiji can sort of just steamroll him before he is able to get there. The Baron is up. Next Drake is up in 2 minutes, so that will not soul. It'll be soul point, but no soul for either team quite yet. So not necessarily a huge objective. So I'm guessing these 2 teams will still be fighting over this Baron here, because whoever steps up to take this Drake without, you know, a good reason to, is just gonna get Baron stolen from underneath them. So we'll have to see what these 2 teams decide to do about these objectives here. Brother Otter sort of being kept down in the bot lane here from the Ahri push. But right now,
he's closing in. He's about a third of the way towards level 16. And once he hits level 16, that's going to be when the Corki really starts to do a lot of damage. And critically, he just bought the Malignance. Malignance is going to be really big for Corki. Throwing those art keys over the wall and just getting this big field of I think it's called hate fog all across the ground. So Corki is now a couple minutes away from being fully online. I'd say maybe 2 or 3 waves away from it.
Yeah, all the hate fog that Corki puts out in these games. You think we're playing Thracia 776. That's a Fire Emblem joke for all one of you who got that, which was me. Anyways.
Yeah, I was not following.
Just ignore me. Anyways, yeah, the Malignant's gonna be great here. Kog'Maw now on the Zeal with the dagger. We'll see what else we can get here before the next objective fight. As it looks like vision has been secured around the Baron by Mint. So currently a little bit blind for the side of Jiji. Wukong.
Dragon's up in 20 seconds.
Yeah, and Wukong's hovering around it. Ahri as well on the bot side. However, there's no vision to really know if the 2 are committing to it. So without that info, there just isn't really a whole lot they can do to really try and force this Baron. But they're pinging it. They're going to start it. Wukong is actually a ways away. They get the info they need. Now they're going to try and burn this down as much as possible.
He has package. Watch the package.
Yeah, Corki's got package. He's waiting for an opportunity. They're lining up. Corki's going to be ready to try and knock him down, and instead he goes over the wall instead of into the champions who could be knocked away with it. But that's going to be a pickup of the Baron. Lilia gets it, and the burn's going to go down. The burn's actually huge
Butters
from Corki.
Oh my goodness.
Corki and Butters, they managed to turn that back around. They get the Baron. They get every kill. I was confused about the package there first, but it all works out in the end as the huge damage numbers from these carries on Mint are enough to stat check the bruisers of Jiji.
Yeah, it was a brilliant angle there from the Corki. It goes in to the bottom of the fight and drags everyone down through the bottom of the river. Uses that package to fly over the wall behind where no one can really target him, because you have to be fighting in to try to see if you can force the smite fight to be a little bit more in your favor. That allows Corki to sit over the wall and fire at range out of vision to just throw those ultimates over the wall and completely cover the Baron Pit, not just with his package, but also with those hate fog enforced rockets over the wall, those missile barrage shots that just keep firing again and again and again. Picks up a quadra kill, and with Butters staying alive there in the backline, just firing shot after shot after shot, has not gone with the Terminus and has gone with Runon's Hurricane instead. So it's going to be able to really start spreading that damage out. That was a huge team fight, and Malphite had a really nice ultimate to lock everybody down so that Butters could and this Corki could easily free fire over the wall. What a great team fight from both of them right there. And I think that could be what pushes them forward and forces a game 3 right here. We'll have to see how it plays out though.
Yeah,
I don't want to jinx it.
Yeah, we'll have to see. It certainly looks like Mint are putting themselves into a favorable position, but you have to remember all of the tools that Jiji has had to make these picks, take out these players like the Corki, like the Kog'Maw, are all still online. They just need to find these picks. They need to find the hooks. They need to find the charms. And they have plenty of opportunities to do that. Now that Mint is going to be forced on the aggressive side here, they with the Baron, if they want to try and make the most of it, they're going to have to step up and do something. And that will give Mint, well, that'll give Jiji the opportunity to try and turn it back around. And if they aren't able to, with, you know, if they aren't able to get those picks, they're just going to get once again burst down, blown away by the daring Bombardier and friends, as the Runons we were looking for last game is actually picked up. CZI is going to get unstoppable force from the bot side as Kabutop's just going to look to make the Jacks go to bed. Night as Colin picks that one up for themselves. And now using the move speed to get into the mid lane, as Smokey is going to be very low, going to get flashed on, going to get burned away by a single spin of Kabutops here, a rapid spin if you will, from this Lilia, as now Chris is going to be next on the list. So much damage coming out from the Lilia. The stopwatch will dodge the charm, but there is still enough damage to take him down. But while they are all burning away, the siege begins on the base. No minions, but still plenty of damage here. It's going to be 4v3 in favor of Mint. They will certainly get this inhib. We'll see if they try and go any further. Charm does land on to Butters, but there just is not follow-up yet. Chris was not nearly close enough. Ooh, we got a hook on to Butters right here, but is it going to be enough? Butters going to walk away, going to land those autos, spacing very well, trading one back, but is going to go down.
Jax.
CZI is on the backside here, going to try and clean up what they can. Not able to get onto Otter right now as Canella just so low, not able to try and offer support. Dashes over the wall, gets the ulti, gets the Spirit Rush, goes for the Charm. Charm goes wide, but it is enough damage to burn down Colin. And now Canella dashing forward, looking to get another Charm, but not quite in range. The siege is halted, but Mint is likely not too upset about what they got from that.
No, they got the mid inhibitor, and yeah, that fight went a little bit wrong because they stayed a little bit too long there in the mid lane, allowed them to respawn, and they actually took a really nice fight there, Conduit Esports GG did, to turn that dive around and kind of stall out any sort of semblance of a Baron push you could have thrown together left after that push. But yeah, a really masterful fight there from the Ahri. She has her death cap completed, and she's level 18 now. So that Spirit Rush is on a 37-second cooldown, thanks to that Malignance and the CDR that Lichbane gives as well. And she's also got those Lucidity boots, so she's going to have even more CDR. She's stacked up quite a bit of it, so she can ult pretty quickly. She ulted twice in that fight.
I love League. I love League. Regular League has just been slowly becoming Earth. You know, it's the Earthification of League of Legends. You know, the old heads have noticed this. You know, the League boomers. We know that this has been happening. We've been warning you all, but now here we are, with rapid Ahri ultimates. It's Nocturne as well early in the season, terrorizing people with like 40-second CDR paranoias. It's just a nightmare. And oh, that is oof, ouch, owie, my bones. Tucci just walking into trying to get a ward, gets charmed up, killed instantly.
And here's the problem.
It is just
here's the problem. Yeah, but here's the problem though. Dragon's up in 5 seconds, and they're gonna look for a fight right now. You have to force something right here. Ari has the ultimate stuff, so she can still keep looking for things. The ult is gonna come out there. Why don't you ult the ult to keep the game out?
Yeah, Packer's gonna go down. Brother Otter is gonna be on the backside, but not able to get the spacing. Actually does, has the Valkyrie with the package layer down. That's gonna burn through everybody walking on top of it. Now Butter is able to flash forward, just finish off the Wukong there. Brother Otter plays very daring right there, and the risk pays off. But CZI is going to try and turn this one back around. Butters is going to be the target. The counter-strike is going to go through. The damage is going to go down. Butters just going to try and walk away as best as possible as Colin's going to slow him down. So many slows, so many auto-attack slows, but it's not nearly enough. Counter-strike back up again as Colin is going to just try and clap this man. And I think the clapping will begin. Except here comes the Counter-Strike once again. Counter-Strike, E. Jax enters an evasive stance for 2.5 seconds, where he negates all attack damage. The CZI is just gonna get turned to stone by the cheese wheel from Colin, as that will be the Drake picked up here very slowly by the Malphite, but almost certain. Never mind. We have a TP coming in from Canella, looking to stop this. No jungler around. It's just going to be Canella on their lonesome. Unstoppable Force is available for the Malphite, but there is no mana in pocket. We'll see what Brother Otter has arrived. Crashes into the wall with the Valkyrie. I love Corki. Oh, Charm's gonna land. That's a ton of damage, but not nearly enough. So now Peacemaker's gonna be walking in. The rest
is here, though.
The rest of Conduit has arrived, and Colin is so low. Unstoppable Force does go out, but it only goes on to nobody right here as Wukong does get the steal. Brother Otter blows up. Canella T is now Kabutops stalling them with the stopwatch, but the stall is not enough, as Corki not able to get close enough. It's too risky to turn that around, as Corki gonna have to recall here, and Jiji get the steal, they get the turnaround, and get back into the driver's seat.
Yeah, and critically, Chris stole the dragon. That would have been Mountain Soul over to Mint OTS, and those shields go on immediately once that Mountain Soul is captured. And so that would have completely turned that fight around. But no, Chris takes the entire game into his hands and says, "This steal is mine. I am not going to go down without a fight." Steals the dragon away and keeps Conduit Esports GG in this game. And they actually have a 2,000 gold lead. Baron is up. They can rotate over for it. Lilia won't be up for another 10 seconds. Malphite's still up for another 5 as well. They could look to try to get some prio onto this, or at the very least push their waves out, get their jungle cleared out, and get a bunch of gold and XP onto their characters.
Yeah, they absolutely are going to get this time to get some money, get some gold, set themselves up perfectly for this next Baron, which could be the deciding fight of the game. I believe Corki does not have the package. I don't know. Yeah, we are still 2 minutes away on package. So this is a very big opportunity as they wait for this package timer to try and make something happen. Because once Corki has package, it gets so much harder to win any of these fights if you're on the side of GG. But, you know, we'll see if they are able to make something happen. Brother Otter does still have the big damage from those missiles. You saw in that fight, just blasted the Canella away. It was just a rocket, one of the big ones, crashing into the Ahri. Does so much damage to everybody on the side of GG. Smokey does have the spell shield, so that will block a rocket. Which is honestly not that bad, because a rocket could be half of your HP bar. So, you know, blocking that is pretty good when you think about it. So yeah, vision, control. Mint's gonna be walking into the jungle here. Corki package, you know, still waiting on it. But right now, we got Jax splitting on the side, does have TP. Canella waiting around, looking to see what they can do. Jax could apply quite a bit of pressure here with the split push. We'll see if that forces anybody away.
Be careful, Chris.
Ooh, Chris is fine. We're fine. We're fine. Everything's fine. You know, you can kind of feel the tension of this game, both of these teams. You know, the stakes this is a very high stakes match for week 2. It's like,
yeah, they're being very tentative to pull the trigger, but just as I say that, here they go. They're turning onto the Baron. It started.
Yeah, Swirl Seed is going to crash into the Baron. They're going to see it happening, but they're just not going to be able to get there in time. It's so too far away. Whoa!
No! What?
It's oh,
No!
that's not real. That's not real. Oh
The
no!
Lilia passive took it.
Disasterific. That's the word for that.
Dream-laden bow, and Chris in chat is spam pinging himself 6 times over. That's just the limit for pinging. What?
I would be too.
What?
If that happened to me, my fist is going straight through the monitor. Like it's over. I'm uninstalling League and I'm going to join a monastery. It's like that's so awful. Oh jeez. Anyways, Butter's gonna get hooked up here. Does flash the charm, but it's still gonna be a great target here.
Butters is down. Butters is down.
Butters is down. We're gonna have to watch where is Brother Otter. Brother Otter has arrived to the fight. He is going to be doing quite a bit of damage. Peacemaker's low. Peacemaker's going to get taken out. Smokey very low as well. Chris on the side. Ari already taken out. So Chris is just going to dip away. Walking away from that one. 2 for 2 in the fight here as Chris flashes the Swirl Seed there, I believe. Is now Mint is in a better spot to look for this next Drake. Both teams are on Soul Point. 41 minutes Soul. I can't remember. First of all, it's been a while since I've seen a game go past 40 minutes. Second of all, a 41-minute Soul.
They're gonna try to rush on the dragon here. It's gonna go down.
Yeah, it is gonna get absolutely shredded by the Corki and the Lilia here. Nobody able to respond to that. Package away. You know, you might as well use it, you know, for fun. It is a fun ability to have. So that will be the Mountain Soul picked up. This Malphite, who was already very hard to kill, has just gotten significantly harder to kill. So we will see, is there enough damage to bust through the front lines here? The front line, I guess, from the side of Mint. Presumably, that's not the goal. Presumably, as we just walk past them with the Ari.
I think at this point, what you want to play for, if you're Chris, is you tell your whole team, guys, it was super unfortunate what happened there with the Baron, but at this point, we just need to stall out. Elder Dragon's going to be up in 5 minutes. Our whole point right here, right now, is we want to wait for a bit more tankiness to come onto the Wukong and the Jax. And we just want to clear these waves out, clear out the Baron, not lose when Baron is up, and just try to stall out as we get up there fighting.
Peacemaker going for a flash, going for an ultimate right there. Flash, ultimate, Blitzcrank. Very interesting maneuver right there. Is Colin on the back line just going to clap the Varus. On the front side here, though, we have the entirety of Jiji falling one by one. A flawless victory, a triple kill to the Malphite there. Rock solid performance, a rock solid turnaround, and a 43-minute victory for Mint Gaming OTS, bringing us to Game 3.
What a game. That game was almost won there. Chris, I think it was at 12 health that the Lilia passive ticked over and took it. And smiting 12 ticks too early is just insanely unfortunate.
Yeah, that's one of those things. That's one of those just absolutely tragic moments. And I do want to, that Chris in chat, 12-11 smite. Again, fist going right through the monitor. I'm not playing League after that one if that happens to me. Jeez. Oh man, very unfortunate, but it happens. Those kinds of things happen. That's the magic of League of Legends. As we get a look at the post game here, both mid laners just putting in insane damage for their teams, respectively. Although I will say, I think the biggest surprise is how much damage Malphite put out.
Yeah.
I love this champ. I love Malphite. He's so funny. He just does so much random damage. He's so good.
Malphite is definitely one of the League champions of all time. But yeah, that was, oh man, that's That game went back and forth so many times. It was anyone's game at that point, and the stupid Lilia ball comes rolling through, hits the Baron, and then goes tick, 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 boom, and blows it up with 11 HP because the smite was just barely mistimed by... Can you imagine the game got flipped on its head because of 11 damage? That's all it was. 11 damage was the difference.
Yeah, it is. That's the name of the game sometimes. Truly a game on a knife's edge for both teams. But you gotta bounce back.
Here's the flip side though. Here's the nice thing about that Baron getting stolen away. Ladies and gentlemen, we get a game 3 tonight. That means we get to see another game of these two teams going at it head to head and showing us what they've got. And I'm excited for that, honestly.
Yeah, I'm excited to see these first two games have been really good. So I'm definitely excited. I will say, once again, very refreshing to see some coordinated League of Legends coming from the Draft League, where it's kind of a very entertaining clown show, but still a clown show.
And I kind of want to shout out really quick. The game 1 to game 2 was such a big difference. Game 1 felt pretty chaotic. A lot of simple mistakes being made, losing to shopkeeper, losing to push lanes, losing to rotating at the wrong time. And this game felt so much more put together, a lot more cautious, a lot more strategic. And I really like how these teams are progressing as this series goes along. And I'm hoping in game 3 we see even more strategic and smart, intellectual, big brain Blue Water League gameplay. We'll have that coming for you here in just a moment. Don't go anywhere for game 3. All right, we are back for game number 3. My heart is still racing a little bit after that chaotic way that last game just fell apart with a silly, the luckiest. According to Kabutops there in chat, he said the luckiest ball I've ever hit, and that is definitely the luckiest bowling ball you could ever hit. That's the equivalent of rolling a 300 in bowling. That's what you got right there, and it won you the game. But we'll have to see what happens here in game 3. The Lilia's gonna be no surprisingly banned away. Don't want to just have that mental like damage in the back of your head through the game 3. Kane gonna be still banned away. Not Kog'Maw. The Smolder and the Vel'Koz, Karma and the Gragas, everything else staying pretty much dock standard. We'll see what they want to pick here. Blue side game 1 for Conduit, or game 3 for Conduit.
Yeah, blue side for Conduit here. We'll see what they can do with that. They get their first pick. They do not get the Kane. Kane was banned away, so they're going to have to think of something here. Kog'Maw is still on the table for Mint. I imagine that will be something that they are considering, and Jiji are likely going to have to play around it as we pick up the Wukong at first. A very safe B1 here. Is a flex, especially with the buffs for top lane Wukong. Is a potential flex option. It usually is jungle, but it can go top, and for some players who are not in the game, can go mid lane too. Maokai will be the response here. A very safe, very stable pick. Also a flex. Could go jungle, could go support, although it's definitely been better in support than jungle recently. The state of the jungle right now just not super favorable for slower tank picks like the Maokai. And the Senna will be picked up with that. And yeah, Senna Maokai, seen that quite a bit, so wouldn't be surprised to see that.
I wonder if it's going to be a fasting Senna this time, because Maokai is such a good champion to stack tankiness onto, and he can do it pretty safely because he has all that sustain, that ability to self-peel with that W, and to knock people back with the Q. So I would not be surprised if this is a farming Maokai and a fasting Senna. But I wouldn't be surprised as well here for Conduit if we see them try to throw their hand at the Milio Kog'Maw down here in the bot lane. So we'll have to see if that's what they want to do. No, it's going to be the Jinx.
Not quite the Kog'Maw. Maybe not necessarily practice on it right now. Jinx, however, it's also a great hyper carry option. Strong in a lot of the same ways Kog'Maw is, in terms of just huge DPS, sustained DPS, getting pumped out consistently. So, we'll see what OTS decides to do in response. They're sort of thinking about it. They'll go for the Malcolm Graves. Likely going to be the jungle pick there, which reveals that the Maokai is likely support, unless there are some lane Graves shenanigans. We perhaps see the lifesteal Graves mid lane, the fabled Graves mid that is unkillable.
Insanity has been picking that in the LCS. So I know he did pick it quite a bit last year. So we'll have to see if there is a chance it is that legendary Graves mid, and it's just you're blind picking Graves mid. I respect it if you do.
If that'd be an ultimate gamer move. I don't think it's a good idea, but it is funny, and that's what I care about. It's the Malphite. No funny business from Malphite this game. We are getting rid of the Rock. You can have Ornn. You're not getting Malphite. That, I will say, probably not a bad idea. With the champions, right, that Mint have now, Malphite is good to go with them. Maybe you want a bit more damage, but I imagine mid lane will help to even that out. Cutting away tank options out of the pool of the enemy top laner is very valuable, as the Ahri will get denied from Mint OTS this game. The Gwen taken out of Jiji's champ pool.
But here's the thing, I want to say this really quick. Senna, Graves, that's a lot of AD, and previously they've been banning Maokai. I mean, not Maokai. What's his name? Mordekaiser every single game, and now the Mordekaiser is up. So maybe they're thinking this is our opportunity to take the Mordekaiser for ourselves. I want to see if they go for it. It's a great pick for it, but they're going to pivot to the Aurelion Soul. So a lot of scaling. It's surprising for a blind pick mid as well. A lot of scaling coming through a double stacking comp here with the Senna and the A-Soul.
Yeah, I will say, Aesol can be played very safely. He is an exploitable champion. He is able to be ganked. But as long as you're kind of playing your lane well, it is pretty hard to get onto Aesol and actually stick on him. If he's saving his abilities, you know, his Dragon Flight, he just gets out of there and there's nothing you can do to really follow up. The Nico will get picked up for the mid lane here. So if I had to guess, Nico, very fun pick, throws kind of a wrench into all plans, and the Ornn will be the response. If there was ever a time to pick Mordekaiser, into Ornn is certainly one of the better times to pick Mordekaiser, arguably. And yeah, there it is.
Woo.
Cool.
Exciting times. Mordekaiser is also like surprisingly good as a champion overall in competitive play, and I'm surprised we haven't seen people try to play it more, because you can just take that Mordekaiser, run into a Dragon Pit, run into a Baron Pit, and hit your R key on the jungler, and now that jungler can't access the buff, can't access the neutral monster, and you just get a free smite fight every single time. It's kind of like an even better version of like a Rend plus smite or a Nunu bite and smite or whatever you wanted to do. Like,
yeah, or a single tick of Liandry's.
Or a single tick of Liandry's, yeah. You know, there's a lot of things that it's better than. So Mordekaiser, Aurelion Sol with a very aggressive Graves pick in the jungle. What's a little concerning is that the Aurelion Sol isn't going to really have much prio. The Senna Maokai is probably not going to have a lot of prio against the Jinx Milio, and at least early game, Ornn's going to be hard to move out of lane. And so Wukong's going to have a lot of priority in the jungle, and it's going to be up to Graves to navigate that matchup well, to not accidentally make a mistake and get caught by the Wukong, whose laners will be able to rotate first in most cases. And you want to make sure you're not giving away too many of those neutral objectives either.
Yeah, it's going to be, the name of the game is it is going to be a while for OTS to really kind of contest those neutral objectives. So anything that Graves can do to get early on, maybe, you know, get the first round of Grubbins or get a random Drake here or there, that will be very vital for the team to sort of be able to stabilize and not get beaten down by objective win conditions. Scaling, once again, worked for Mint last game. They're kind of in the pocket this game of trying to get scaling going. I would say Jiji as well with the Jinx and Ornn are certainly looking to try and fight that late game power on the same level. Will it be successful? That's a different question. So looking at the two drafts, who do you favor in game 3 here? Who do you think is going to take the series?
I'm going to go with Mint OTS, and here's why. I've picked them every single game tonight because I've liked their drafts a little bit more. It fell apart in game 1 due to, and we've already talked about those issues, so we won't harp back on it again, but it fell apart in game 1. In game 2, they had that lucky steal to get back into it, and I think they're in it for a reason. They have nothing to lose, and they say, let's just go for it. And I think, here's the thing. Both those games went pretty late. And so I think having the scaling pick, the comp of the Senna, you've got the Aurelion Sol to scale, you've got the Mordekaiser who's going to scale, you've got this Graves who's going to give you a lot of early mid-game power to get you there. I think that's a pretty good comp for what you want to do. Now, the one problem is you don't have a lot of like deep dive to get onto the Jinx. So it's really going to come down to, can you front to back your way through this Ornn, and can the Aurelion Sol create enough space that the Jinx can't freely fire onto your team? So it's going to come down a lot to skill expression, in my opinion. Can the Nico get into the back line? Can the Wukong get into the back line? And you have good tools there with the Ornn, for example, to facilitate that, but you also have great, peel back. Mordekaiser can just ult your engage away. Aurelion Sol can put down that giant galaxy and ult your team away. Maokai can just throw down that ultimate and force your team away, send it to shield from a mile away. So it really comes down to, can Mint survive the initial engage and win the front to back, or can Conduit get to the backline with that Nico? And I think I'm going to go with Mint OTS. I'm going to go with my gut. I picked them every game, and we're going to do it one more time.
Yeah, game 1, I picked Mint to win. They lost. Game 2, I thought Jiji was going to win. They lost. So my sub-0 draft percent win rate is going even lower in terms of predictions. So, I'm kind of afraid to make a prediction here. But I will say personally, I like the tools Mint has, but especially in leagues like this, reliable champions like Ornn and Jinx, I have found have a higher success rate. So, based on entirely vibes, I think that I like what Jiji has to bring to the table. They can contest the late game scaling with the Jinx and the Ornn, and in the early to mid game, they have a lot more power through the Wukong and the Nico. So I think that they, although they are definitely in those hyper late game scenarios going to get run over by Mint, I think as long as they are able to keep control of the game more so than we saw last game, that they will have a good chance of taking the series. But we'll have to see if that is what results. We're gonna go to a quick break. When we come back, we will be in the game for Game 3 here between Conduit Esports, Jiji, and Mint OTS. Stick around. The Emerald, Blue Otter League Emerald will come back at you with an exciting Game 3 after our break.
right, we are back here for game 3, the final showdown of who is going to come away on top of this one between Conduit Esports GG and Mint OTS. We've got an Aurelion Soul in the mid lane. We've got a Jinx from Arcane. Hey, is that Jinx from Arcane in the bot lane? And we've got a lot to look forward to in this one.
Yeah, a lot of if last game is any indication, if the goal is to get to late game, we are going to have some scrappy fights in the later stages. But you know, the first 20 minutes, we might have a bit of an LCK situation. You know, I hope you're ready to talk about Pokemon. You know, it's that's what the LCK casters do, right?
Yeah,
when they're in a lull state.
They like to sit around and you know, just kind of banter about whatever meat suits their fancy. And
yeah, I love the LCK. One of my favorite casts. It helped me through college, you know. So can't blame them. You know, it kept me helped me sleep. Thanks to, you know, the leagues being kind of slow. Anyways, enough about that. Let's talk about this. And right now, the lane matchups, you sort of talked about this in draft, but they're definitely going to be very much favored towards the side of Jiji. Even though Mordekaiser does beat Ornn theoretically, Ornn is really hard to move. So even you are able to, you know, pull him in, burn him down a little bit, he can always just buy items. He can always heal up. He's got biscuits. He's got potions. You know, he's got the whole shop in his back pocket. So he's not going to be going anywhere anytime soon. So we're really gonna be keeping an eye on what Kabutops and Chris do this game. We have a sort of reverse jungle situation as we started on top side for Chris and bot side for Kabutops. So we'll see if that amounts to anything, if Kabutops is going to try and make something happen top or mid, or if we're just going to try and stay safe here in the jungle early.
I don't expect too much to happen. Mordekaiser does win a nice little trade there, but like you said, Ornn's got the inventory. He can just kind of pop back whenever. He's got all those things just right there in his backpack, and he can do whatever he wants. Graves is up here, though, but I think it is going to get spotted. The pull is going to miss. Gonna dash forward. Graves gonna hop forward as well. The near side's gonna come down there with the smoke. A lot of damage gonna get chunked down, but that Q is not gonna quite chunk against the tower to get that instant proc back. Either way, Ornn is forced to base, and it's probably gonna teleport right back up to the top lane, as if nothing really happened or nothing really changed. Recall was stopped though, so
yeah, I guess he might be just kind of opting into, you know, he's not that low. Diving early on is kind of not easy for Graves. So getting the ghost out there, not having to burn flash, you're probably going to have a little bit of trouble in the with your waves for a little bit. Getting some of the CS is going to be tough. So he's going to lose some gold, but not too bad. Ooh, and actually he's going to get a huge trade. Whew. What? Oh.
Meanwhile, I was peeking at it. Chris caught Brother Otter backing on a behind the tower and just killed him.
Oops. Well.
So Chris is making amends for the mistake in game 2, is coming out angry and says, no, I'm not letting that happen again. Chris is saying, no, did you guys forget? I am Chris. Like, I am that Chris. I'm that guy. I'm him. I'm getting first blood at 4 minutes. So no Pokemon for us.
Yeah, we do have actual excitement and things happening in the game, which is always good. I will say, I imagine that it was just kind of Nico landing some good roots, chunking Brother Otter back under turret, and then, you know, Chris does have flash down, so did burn that flash to get that kill. So, does trade the flash for that, but getting the first blood on the Wukong here is going to be very valuable because it allows Wukong to better trade with the Graves. And win those skirmishes even harder than he theoretically already would be. And it also gives him the ability to kind of potentially start looking at people like the Mordekaiser as targets to start beating up on, you know, once Ornn hits 6. Obviously, you have to contend with the Death Realm, but that is not so bad if you have more items and more stats than Mordekaiser does. You can just beat him in the Death Realm. So Wukong gets some openings here for themselves, as we're gonna clear out some vision, start the grubbins here. So that's gonna be first round of grubs going over to Chris. I don't believe Kabutops is gonna try and contest them.
Kabutops is looking around though.
Actually, maybe thinking about it here. It is a little slow right now for Chris to
but
try
up on the top, Mordekaiser just straight up soloed the Ornn up there. So now Chris needs to be really careful. Graves is going to dash over the wall. They're going to look to fight back and forth. Graves does not have flash either, though, so you got to be really careful here. You used all your mobility. The keyword's going to come out. The smite is going to take that last Void Grub, but you're trading your life for it. Graves, Kabutops, yes, you do stop that third Void Grub from going over, but I don't know if it's worth giving over your life and getting a second kill onto Wukong.
Yeah, you know, that's certainly not an ideal play right there. Obviously, you don't want to give over the full round of grubbins because then it means that you have to contest round 2. But a single grub gives a ton of EXP. That as well is important to consider, but it's still, you're trading your life away for it, and that's another 300 gold in the pocket of Chris right there that is just going to be able to be utilized, again, help him do those trades, help him make those fights happen. But fortunately on the top side, Mordekaiser does manage to get that solo kill, do what the champion is supposed to do in this matchup, which is kill the tank, make the tank suffer. So, suffering is the life of Ornn in this matchup, unless Colin plays a little bit too far forward. Drake will go over, the first Mountain Drake of the game will go over to the side of the Otters. They will pick that up, so game's likely going to slow down a little bit here as we wait for the next possible objectives to come up. Neither jungler really looking to make things happen in ganks. More so just either cleaning up or getting opportunities in the jungle. Vision drop down. We'll see where Wukong is. That's a little bit of info. It's not bad.
I just want to talk about this really quick though. The scaling side over there for Mint OTS, they're the red side. They are the ones who picked up that dragon. And so that's really good for the scaling opportunities that they might try to look for something right here. Smokey is looking to go up, but the thumbs down is coming from Tucci to say, not today. You can run, but I can hide. I think he's going to tank a free turret shot for that. I mean, it doesn't mean too much. But yeah, the dragon did go over to the scaling side. So that's really nice for the Aurelion Soul and for the Senate to have that little bit of extra, comfort to feel like they can scale into this game a little bit more, because dragon stacking is really what forces games to move forward quickly. It's dragons and barons, you don't have to worry about for another 12 minutes at least, and the dragons now you don't have to worry about for at least 20 minutes for that soul to have even any threat for the enemy team. So a lot of comfort to scale here early on, unless something goes incredibly wrong. The match is pretty even. Your top side is now trying to win really hard, but Chris has gone in for an engage. Canella is going to try to see if he can look for it. The ult does come out and is flashed away by Brother Otter, so that dragon is going to survive the dive there from Chris. Both Chris and Canella bowing their flashes and their ultimates, whereas Brother just hits the F key and survives it.
Yeah, two trash flashes traded for one, although you could argue that Asol is a little bit less mobile. The ulti crashes down. Kabutops is here, going to try and make something happen, flying in.
Yeah, here they go. They're looking for the engage. A lot of damage, though, coming onto Brother Otter. Canella could try to look forward and see if he can use those passive attacks. But I'm not seeing look for it. It's going to just give it up because Kabutops is there, has the red buff, which means you're going to be slowed every time you try to step forward. The Jinx ult is going to no! Oh, it's so close. We're not looking at it on the screen, but that's okay. I was watching the Jinx ult come through, and it just missed the Aurelion Soldier, who was trying to back on 200 HP. It just missed by a hair.
Yeah, fortunately, almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, and I suppose Jinx rockets, as Brother Otter is able to get away from that. Does limp away. Smokey getting is slow, but this is likely just going to be kind of a small trade down here. This is a small trade that is slowly getting larger. We do have Graves getting rooted up. Brother Otter is going to try and make something? No.
Senna ult over the top, but it doesn't really result in anything too meaningful. It does push the Nico off a little bit more, so they can look to try to get some of these grublings here and hopefully pick a couple of those for themselves. There goes one already. So Wukong is going to be pretty late to the party. That's going to make sure that you don't get that passive because he's now taken 2. Ornn is pulling up to the party, though. Pulling up to the function. The pullback is going to miss, but CZI is still looking for it. Wukong going to come jumping over the wall. Chris is here. Smokey's here. Peacemaker's here. Chris did steal that last one, so it's going to be 3 apiece, and they're all going to look at each other, say hello, have a nice day, and walk back to their respective lanes.
Yeah, 3 for 3 grubbins. You know, that's pretty much where you want to be. It's kind of a weird way to get to the result of 3 for 3 grubbins, but we do get there as a single grub gets stolen by both junglers. Chris doesn't have to trade his life for that one, at least. So that's pretty good for Wukong, I will say. Does have the Triforce completed. So first big item purchase for Wukong here. That Triforce is going to be huge around this next Drake, which is coming up in about 40 seconds as the Mordekaiser has completed the Rylai's. We do have Peacemaker taking a bit of damage.
Maokai's going in. Chris is wrapping around the back. I don't think this is going to mean too much. Graves is there to hover as well, but Smokey is still putting out the damage. That's the ultimate available if Tucci had gone a little bit lower. Nico is roaming down there as well.
Yep.
Kabutops was spotted on a warp, so Canela was trying to fake that they were going bot side and flips up to that little tri-bush there with the proto belt, but Graves sees it coming and dashes away. So no further shenanigans there. This could be a big right here. The ult is going to pull through so that that second dash there from that Ornhorn is not going to be able to hit. He's Stevenborn taking a lot of damage from that tower and has to back away. He's going to use that W shield to heal back up and get the health lead, but CZI taking a pretty nice trade there. Blue team is going to pick up that Dragon. They're continuing to fight though, and Ornn is going to end up getting a solo kill. So a 1 solo kill apiece over to CZI and to Colin as we see a minion running the wrong way.
Sneaky minion.
Kabutops.
Kabutops is just not going to be fast enough there. Used agility, but just not able to close the kill out.
Is jumping in there. He's going to use that ult there onto the Dragon, and Dragon's going to use his ultimate to Smokey from downtown with that super mega death rocket. Lands it right onto Brother Otter, and the Forge God is Forge dropped. I just realized, no, that's not the Forge God. Forge God is Ornn.
The Star,
the Star
Dragon. The Star Forger. All right.
We have a Metal Forger on one side and a Star Forger on the other. There's just a lot of constructing going along.
Yeah,
going around on this game.
Yeah, and neither Forger is really having the greatest of games. Solo kill going over to CZI is always, honestly, is Ornn solo kill. Like, yeah, of course. Yeah, you know, it happens at least once a game. It happens at least once a game. So that's fine, but the Acel here definitely getting punished for existing, as Acel tends to do. He is very exploitable. They are doing a good job of exploiting him, trying to slow him down as much as possible. We'll see if that really amounts to anything, as the slows do go out onto Colin, pushing him back a little bit.
They're looking for a dive here, bot, onto Jinx, though. Jinx throws those traps out, but that's only going to delay the inevitable TP. Is coming out there here for Ornn, so let's see if they can get the kill. The ult is thrown out, but the knockup from CZI as well is not enough to follow up. The kill is going to go over, and I believe, yeah, it was Asena who picked up that kill. So gold going where you want it to go. Meanwhile, Chris is surrendering his heart over towards killing that Rift Herald, and it's going to pick up its eye as the Rift Herald surrenders its eye to Chris.
Yeah, just kind of a pretty easy dive. They know that Milio's not there. They know that there were two TPs available. They could have sent both down there, but Jinx was already so low, and they would still be outnumbered under turret, that it would have been very risky. Even if both the solo laners burn their TPs just to bail Jinx out, it would have been not an advantageous thing. You definitely want one of your solo laners to keep the TP in their pocket in case they want to try and get some split pressure going around the next Drake, which is coming up in a couple of minutes. So I think it's for the best that even though CZI does burn the TP, trying to get some assistance there, try to get the Jinx bailed out. In the end, Jinx does still end up going down, but they don't burn a whole lot in response, and actually arguably come out on top in terms of the potential gold value, because the Rift Herald will almost certainly help them get a turret. So that will be higher value than a single Jinx kill in the later stages of the game. We'll just have to see if Chris can make the most of that Herald, as Brother Otter is...
Maokai's in a bit of trouble. They're going in, though, onto Peacemaker, and Peacemaker is going to get knocked back there. It's using the ult to fly away, send ult over the top, isn't going to land. The exhaust is going to come out, and Brother Otter is going to spit some star forging fire onto the Milio, the little fire boy, and it's going to drop. So another kill going over to the Dragon, who has that Rylai's completed, so it's going to be a lot stronger. Mordekaiser teleporting back up to the top lane, and it's going to catch those last few minions, and we're going to reset back to where we were. A nice little catch, though, there from the Maokai, as now Graves is looking in onto Smokey. Smokey is slowed up because of that red buff, but it's going to make it under tower in time. Chris is wrapping around, but is seen on vision, so Candletops and Brother Otter know what's coming and can sit there, clear that wave out, and then set back, reset, because Dragon's coming up in 45 seconds. You want to reset, spend your gold that you have, and come back to be ready for that fight that is inevitably going to happen, because from what we've known from these past two games, these teams love to fight around objectives.
Yeah, they're absolutely going to try and scuffle around this Cloud Drake. Vision is definitely kind of an even spot right now. I'd say Jiji are going to be able to get the first crack at cracking the Vision open for themselves. There are a couple of wards, and there is the Scuttle Vision that Mint have, so they aren't completely in the dark, at least right now. So they'll be able to see something here, as Chris is waiting in the wings. Tucci walking forward with the saplings. Maokai very good at breaching objectives, just because the saplings give everything you want them to do. They do everything. They slow, they give vision, they do damage. They're so good. I love them. Big Maokai fan. Udyr Maokai. Anyways,
you have to be careful. Yep, there it goes. Ornn is using the teleport. Let's see if Mordekaiser does stop it up there in the mini map. So it is going to be a true 4v4 here. The big ult is going to come on. It's the big ult from the Starforger as the damage continues to pour out. Brother Otter is spitting damage out. Smokey is forced to run away on a sliver of health. Flash comes out from Canela T. Damage comes out to Senna. Lands the strap and is going to let that last auto attack land onto the Jinx, who's going to drop as well. Aurelion Sol continuing to put out damage onto Canela T, who throws the Q out to try to get a little bit more damage, but it's not enough. Dragon goes over to Cabotop. Double kill over to Brother Otter. The teleport was stopped there from Kakol and stopped CZI's teleport, which would have made it a 5v4, which was a clutch catch, so he might give his life for it. Flashes away from it, but the fight continues here. He's going to get that big heal from the W shield, throws the Q back down, has thrown on the Death Drum as well, so the fight continues. The passive comes out, smacking away at him, throws the Q, and now he's going to be flashed away from him as well. CZI throws out that Bellows Breath, gets that last stomp there, smack across both sides of the face, and solo kills him.
I love Ornn.
What a fights all across the map.
Yeah, nice counter pick, dude. Ornn never loses these.
Nope.
God, I love tanks. I love tanks in this game. Man, despite CZI schmoovin on Colin there, definitely that whole situation as it broke down 100% went in favor of Mint. Kabutops got the drink. They got so many kills there. They got so much gold into the pockets of, first of all, Brother Otter, who is now 3-2, and the Senna as well, picking up another kill in that fight. So both of their big carries that they're trying to get money in the pockets of got quite a bit of money from that fight. So it's a huge...
Chris rumbling down.
Yeah,
are they going to go for it? Smokey is trying to hit it. Last
Smokey.
auto will come through, and Smokey will get the first tower. Continues to throw those rockets out. The Mordekaiser does pull CZI back. He's done that a couple times already this game. Milio kicks that little golden soccer ball, and it hits nobody. So no, he's definitely not on Ronaldo mode right now, but that's okay. Yeah, that's nothing too much really going on. They get the tower and decide to step back and continue farming these side waves and waiting for something else to fight over.
Yeah, there is the Baron up right now, but honestly, neither team is really in a great spot to start shredding it. Once Jinx gets to 3 items, I'd say, that'd be where you can look to try and sneak it if you are Jiji. If you're the side of Mint, you really are just kind of waiting on Asol to find his items, and it doesn't look like he's too interested in investing into burn, at least right now. He could be looking towards getting a Leandries at some point, but considering Mord's picking one up, they probably don't want to double dip. So Acel, after completing this Seraphs, will be looking to do something else with his money. With checking out the gold here, we see that for the most part, the gold is even at the top. On the bottom here, a lot of these laners are pretty even as well. The real big deficits are in the mid and 80 carry positions. Acel has a significant gold lead over Nico, and Senna has a pretty solid gold lead as well.
The fight is going to continue. CZI has gone in. That's a little bit aggressive because Mordekaiser going to throw it on the Death Realm. Q is going to land there. The next tech auto attack, 3 auto attacks. The pass is going to come out there. Graves is just waiting to throw the ultimate down. Nope, but K Colin is going to just solo kill it, but in goes Chris with that ultimate. Senna throwing that ultimate over the top there as well. Double root is going to land there from the Mordekaiser. Chris gets forced to pull in, and what happened to Chris? Oh, he's back in there. He was just jumped right back out of it. And that's going to dissuade the fight there right away. I know the bot lane, no one, Canelity was looking for an angle to potentially TP in, and is there going to use a TP instead? Jump back down. Oh, Brother Otter flashing away from that Pop Blossom because he was pushing forward to try to get that bot tower. But now, that's about a 2,000 gold lead over to Mint OTS, who has the scaling advantage for sure. So it's starting. If you're in Conduit Esports GG and you're in that roster right now, you are trying to look at how this game is progressing, and you're thinking, boy, we got to start making some proactive plays here, because at some point it's gonna all come down to it's just gonna be Jinx gaming at this point. Are we gonna get lore accurate Jinx? And that's all we need at this point. Who does have the Infinity Edge done and the Kraken Slayer, so she's scaling up decently well as well.
Yeah, no, even though Jinx is behind in gold, she's still certainly in a decent spot. She's hit another item breakpoint for herself, so she is going to be able to do quite a bit of damage if she's able to free fire. The only question is she going to be able to free fire? Because she has a lot of pressure put on her by...
Here comes... Ornn is giving over the first ornament that's going to go onto the Infinity Edge, I believe. There it goes.
Yep.
And that turns it into, if my memory serves correct, Molten Edge.
Yep, Molten Edge.
And so, yeah, Jinx is going to start to really do some damage here, as the next dragon is spawning up. So guess what? It's fight time.
Yeah.
Again. And
yeah, we've waited for so long. Long have we waited. Now we can fight over this Drake.
Long have we awaited. Dragon fight activated. Nice little W. Gonna come out there, zap there from the Jinx, gonna land, forcing the plants get picked up there, so those are gone from them. That's a little advantage lost. Senna kind of looping around from the back, but Ornn is looping around from the, no, that's the Nico. Nico's running around from the back. Here she goes, big Pop Blossom onto 4. What a Pop Blossom! Jinx lands the ultimate onto the Senna. Brother Otter's getting really low. Brother Otter is dropped as well in the Death Realm, I do believe, and there goes the Mordekaiser. Triple kill over to the Jinx. Smokey is throwing out insane amounts of damage. What a flank, though, from Canela T. Completely turned that team fight around. Man, that is so big. They're going to get the... Excuse me. They're going to get the dragon. They're probably going to be able to rotate over as well to pick up a Baron for themselves as well, unless Kabutops can throw some more nonsense like he did in Game 2. Chris, be aware.
Yeah, that Nico there, her deception level was so high that she deceived you, the caster.
Yeah.
So that was very good stuff from Canela, who is going to die. But
Canela T is going to drop here. Senna ult comes over the top. That lands onto 3. The teleport is going to be coming in there as well from the Aurelion Soul. Who comes flying in? Let's see if he can do anything with it. Does have the ult up in a... Oh, everyone, the ult's only halfway up. But here he comes, spitting that damage over the wall. Unstoppable there for CZI, comes over the wall. Jinx is starting to do the damage, though. Jinx shutdown. First shutdown goes over onto the grave, so Chris is dropped. No, wait, sorry. The Canela is whatever his name. I'm forgetting his name because the nameplates are off right now. Canela is dropped, but K. Cole is running in, does get the kill there onto Peacemaker.
Just the burn of the...
Why did I say Canela? It's Kabutops. I am so sorry. But I'm doing my best here, guys. But anyways, because of that turn there now, Brother Otter and his team there are starting to do their turn, trying to take on this Baron, and CZI is running in. Canela does not have the TP up critically. Let's see if CZI can do anything about this. He's running into mid lane. Is he going to try for any shenanigans with the ult?
Nah, the ulti is not going to be quite up yet. Still probably a good 15 seconds on that. Not able to approach, not able to clean it up, and Jiji put themselves into a good position and then toss it back to the side of Mint right there. So I gotta say, really solid stuff from both teams are really just playing very well this game, I would say, in terms of finding good opportunities, exploiting what they need to, and making good choices in terms of taking the right fights. So the Baron does end up going over to Mint. I believe this is a 5-man Baron. Somebody might have still been dead when they got it, but either way, a lot of people have it. It's going to allow them to get that siege rolling, try and get some of these turrets here. There is still an outer turret in the mid lane.
It doesn't look like did Graves get it?
Graves.
I don't think Graves did. Yeah, Graves does not have Baron.
All right, so fortunately, it is just Graves. He can play around some of these other players who have it, especially like Butters is going to be a very central piece here. Otter as well are going to be the main people you're going to want to see played around for this Baron, and I guess also importantly, Colin has it, because now this Mordekaiser can be a side lane threat, forcing CZI up to deal with the big metal man, which gives a lot of breathing room here, because Ornn's big game-winning button is just not going to be there to help the rest of Jiji out. So Mint have a lot of leeway to potentially look for opportunities here in the mid lane if they want to try and take a fight, while CZI is kind of trapped up there in the Mordekaiser, the living death realm, the realm of death, where you have three siege minions pounding away at your turret nonstop. Somebody's gonna have to go up there and help him, because I'm pretty sure he just does not have the ability to clear those on his lonesome. As the outer turret,
gonna be difficult.
Yeah, outer turret goes down. Wukong waiting in the jungle, seeing if they can't get an opportunity, perhaps onto Maokai is what they're gonna find.
Here we go. Tucci is caught. He's gonna run away with the Jinx ult. Nope, it's not gonna do quite enough. The super mega death rocket is a super middling death rocket at that point, because Tucci is pretty tanky with those items that he's got on his back, but we'll have to see how this goes. Smokey is putting out the damage and clearing the wave, and that's probably gonna be about it. They're thumping onto the wrong Chris. Ult is gonna come out there from the Graves at collateral damage, just to try to thin out those enemies a little bit more. And now we have 4 cannon minions up there.
This is really, we have a quartet, a barbershop quartet of siege minions.
Here comes the 5th one.
Here
goes Chris. Chris comes in. The ultimate's gonna come out. We gotta go back into the mid lane. The big ult there comes out from the dragon as well, and he's gonna get that first kill down to the Wukong. Here comes the Pop Blossom though. It lands onto 2. Jinx is firing still, but it's slowed up now because of that dragon. Continue to slow down, and that dragon, the Jinx is going to finally drop to the Graves. Double kill going over to Kabutops. Chris went in, and Chris gets dropped, and they're too far forward. The Nico ult is a little bit too late on the follow-up, and that is 4 dead. Only CZI is left.
Yeah, CZI, the payoff of the barbershop quintet of siege minions in top lane is that CZI has no ability to even think about leaving lane to deal with that turret. And you know, they give up so much to honestly protect kind of a turret that's not really that useful. They do, they just get four people giving up. They lose the 4v4. Their team is not really that great in the 4v4. I will say Camilla got as much as possible with that Pop Blossom there, but we have reached level 16 ASOL. We have reached so much power on the side of Mint right now. They have really scaled up so successfully this game that it's just going to be kind of hard for the side of Jiji to look to contest. Again, now that we've reached the further stages of the game, it's going to come down to whether or not Smokey can be the bandit here and steal the game away from Mint. Well, it's going to be tough, especially because of how much this Jinx is going to have to chew through. The Jinx is going to have to chew through Maokai on top of them. Getting melted by Graves, Asol, and Senna from half a screen away. It's really it's really tough to be Jinx in this game, and especially because there isn't a whole lot of backup for the Jinx. You have Milio, who's great at peeling, but aside from that, you're kind of choosing on whether or not you want to have your Ornn back with the Jinx, and Ornn kind of wants to be more on the front lines. Doesn't really want to be playing babysitter for your AD carry right here. Kind of wants to be with that Wukong in the midst of a fight. So it's just a tough fight to navigate here for Smokey. I don't think it's impossible. I think that Jinx, of any champion, Jinx is the kind of champion to be able to blast through.
We saw it earlier when the Nico got that dream flank around in that earlier dragon, which almost turned the game in their favor until they overstuck and pushed there for that Baron when the death times are too low. But here comes the ult there from the Maokai. Teleports are coming in as well. Chris uses the ultimate double pop blossom. He's going to land, and that's going to be... Jinx is starting to fire. Kabutops does get away. Jinx flashing forward, but doesn't get the execute onto anyone just yet. Ornn ult does come through. CA Colin has ulted out Chris, though. Chris is going to dash to the backline and has slain. Ornn has slain Butters, though. Colin's going to drop Chris, and Ornn, or Maokai rather, is just sitting in the middle of the fight, doing so much damage.
Free fire.
Yeah, Graves is free firing as well. Look at the dragon there at the top, just spitting damage over and over and over again. There's just so much damage coming out from Mint OTS. You've got the Graves to worry about, the Senate to worry about, the Mordekaiser in the middle just kind of melting everybody, and then the Aurelion Soul in the back spitting hot star flames onto everyone as Kabuchop's going to jump in and get the final kill. That's going to be the ace. That's going to be the game. 2-1 victory over to Mint OTS, who reverse sweep Conduit Esports GG in this match. And Canela T is going to be up in 2 seconds, but I don't think it's going to matter for too much. Yeah, it's going to try to get in there, but it's going to get top blossomed for nothing. There we go. Are they going to get the kill? They are not. GG. 2-1 Mint OTS in favor. Well played by all of them, but I really want to shout out Kabutops for that Lilia ball steal, and then in that last game there, Butters.
Yeah.
And all 3 games has had a very nice series tonight.
Yeah, very exciting series, I think. Both teams performed very well. I would say playing around win conditions, especially, both teams were very successful at doing. Taking a look at the post-match here, just look at how much damage was being pumped out by pretty much everybody on the side of Mint this game. It was a very balanced damage profile in terms of who is out there actually making things happen, getting those kills, getting those fights rolling. I will say it's definitely a tough game to play if you are the Jinx. Perhaps they just kind of lost their opportunities. Weren't able to play enough with the Wukong. Maybe Chris could have done more in the early game once he got his ultimate to try and get ganks out onto, maybe the Senna, or perhaps put the A-Soul further into the dirt before he could really accelerate. But it's a tough call to make, especially when, you kind of, especially like at around one of the earlier lost fights that they had, where they just give A-Soul a couple of free kills and Senna gets a couple kills, and it just gets harder to shut those players down when you've pretty much given them a free lane back into the game.
Yeah, it really kind of fell apart there after a couple things went bad. Yeah, Kabutops did just kind of straight up int for that one grub there early on in the game, trading the life for it. But after that moment, everything went pretty well, just well and good as planned, and just they scaled up really nicely. Yeah, they almost threw it away when Nico got that beautiful flank around that second dragon, but they overstayed for the Baron and got caught. Baron goes over to Mint OTS there, and from that point on, it's just a very steep uphill climb, and Colin is just too far ahead. Kabutops just too far ahead. They're on the Graves to free fire. There's so many different, damage sources you have to look for that Jinx doesn't really know who to focus. Wukong can't ult everyone, and Ornn just gets Mordekaiser. Anytime someone gets too deep, just ults them out of the way and allows the team to win the rest of the fight from there. So very well played over to Mint OTS. Night and day from how I'm just gonna say how much of a game one was for them. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna put it that
game one.
way.
Yeah, game one was certainly did not shake out in their favor, but we like I had said after game one, we saw a lot of promising moments from them in the early game, and I think the games 2 and 3, we saw those moments come to fruition, really blossom into what you would kind of hope to see from the team. Sure, you could say that some of it could have been a little bit lucky, could have gone either way, especially in game 2, but game 3, I think they definitively had control of the game. They came in with a good draft strategy. They executed it on it well. And aside from one fight where they get flanked really hard by just an incredible play from Canella, they had control of the game. So you can't, in the end, despite the faults from game 1, they learned from it. And they adapted really well for games 2 and 3. So really good stuff from Mint.
Yeah, they had a nice turning around in this series. It was great to see from them, not just, and the big things, but in the little things, taking those aggressive trades and winning them, more CA Colin getting that early solo kill onto the Ornn. And yeah, Ornn got 1 or 2 back, but it shows that just the confidence as this series progressed was just growing and growing. So great to see from these teams. Congratulations to Mint OTS for taking the series 2-1. That will be it for us tonight, though. I am Sharpie. This has been Becky here to join me for the cast tonight. It's been a pleasure. And to all of you in the chat, stop spamming, because the mid needs to get their head straight from bumping their head on the side of the food bowl. But for everyone else, you guys have a good night. It's been a pleasure to cast for you, and we'll see you at the next match next week of Emerald Blue Water League.